That's right, it's the final week of League play. It's here on the LPL Pro Rocket League ANZ Championship. We're coming at you live here from the heart of Auckland City in my bedroom and also from Mr. Watson's bedroom. My name is Matt Smite Ross, and of course, Stephen Watson is here from his bedroom as well. And we've got one more week of League play to go. Watson, it has been an insane season with crazy results.
Yeah, crazy results, and to see some of those teams close to locking in a playoff spot is also insane. So I can't wait to finally find out which 4 teams make it.
Well, it's good because you're going to have to really focus on this one here if you want to talk about the results. But last week's results to catch everyone up, because we had some pretty normal results, I'd have to say, kind of expected results coming in. We started things off with Mindfreak defeating Cringe Society 3-1. We got the answer to that question finally. Then we had Fury getting the 3-2 over Canberra Havoc in a very close 5-game series. Following that, we had Esper going in and getting the clean 3-0 sweep over Overt, propelling themselves up the leaderboard even more. And then we rounded things off with another hotly anticipated match, Renegades versus CROUND 0. And with that, Renegades took the win 3-1, keeping the playoffs hope alive. And I think that's what we're going to be talking about a lot today, Stephen, is Renegades and their playoffs hopes.
Yeah, I think every game kind of decides where these teams are going to stand going into playoffs. Some of them keeping their playoffs hopes alive, and even the first match just about who gets first seat and whatnot. So we're going to have to see how it all plays out in the end.
Yeah, and we'll take a look one more time. The matches from last week. Mindfreak with a 3-1 against Cringe Society. Fury with a 3-2 against Canberra Havoc. Esper getting the clean sweep against Overt. And then Renegades with a 3-1 against CROUND 0. But now, with all that done and dusted, let's take a look at the all-important leaderboard. It's going to set us up for today. First up, we've got Mindfreak sitting at the top of the leaderboard, but that might change today because CROUND 0 is just below them on 4-2, tied up with Fury also on 4-2. And then, for the last spot in the playoffs, we have a 3-way tie. Cringe Society, Team Esper, Renegades, all on 3-3 apiece. And then we have Overt and Canberra Havoc, who are out of playoffs contention today, but will be playing their hearts out today. Now, the order you see the teams in is also important too, because Cringe Society and Esper and Renegades are all in that order for their game differential. It's slight, but it's enough to put Cringe Society ahead, and also to the point where their fate is in their own hands. But I think we'll have to see today's matches to really talk about that. But first, before we even get into that, Watson, what does it mean to have Renegades down here in 6th place? Because after all the tiebreaker shenanigans you do, they're in 6th place right now. These guys haven't not made playoffs since they've existed. They haven't not won since they've existed. That's crazy.
Yeah, back-to-back rating champions to be all the way down in 2nd. Even with their midweek wins in the gauntlet, I think they're 9-0 in the gauntlet. They haven't lost a single one. Yeah. So pretty crazy to see them so far down on Sundays. I don't know what the problem is coming into these weeks. Maybe they're still asleep, but yeah, it's just a bit insane to see them down there. And especially with how they're playing and some of the wins, they look like a great team. They just, in other weeks, don't show up.
Yeah, so it's going to be real interesting. They're going to have to show up today because their fate, along with some of the other matches, is very much in their hands today. And they don't have the excuse of lack of sleep this week because they got an extra hour thanks to daylight savings ending up. But let's take a look at our matches today because every single match has implications. First up, Mindfreak versus CROUND 0. This match doesn't affect any other teams, but it does affect the first seed, although it can technically affect Fury with a 2nd place finish. Then we'll have Overt versus Renegades. Renegades very much need a 3-0 here if they want to have it in their own hands. Otherwise, they're relying on a lot of other teams to get results for them to make it in the playoffs. Then we've got Cringe Society taking on Canberra Havoc. Luckily for Cringe Society, that match is all in their hands. They just have to win and they're in playoffs. Then we've got Team Esper versus Fury. This is the most important match. Funnily enough, it's going to decide whether Esper or Fury make it in. It's possibly going to decide whether Renegades makes it in. There's implications all over the board. It might even decide if Fury gets 2nd place overall, which might not mean much for seeding, but for their first time in the league, that could mean a lot for them mentally. So that's a lot. That's a lot, Stephen. So let's box it all up in the first match. Mindfreak versus CROUND 0. Let's just talk about this one for now. The 2 teams competing for first place.
Yeah, it's just a bit crazy to say that Mindfreak's sitting top of the leaderboard right now, even after all these weeks. They were undefeated for a while. Fury were the ones that took them down, and now they've got a chance to really prove that they're supposed to be up there going up against the number 2 team and maybe lock themselves into first place going into playoffs.
Yeah, and Ground Zero had their chance last week to move up to the top of the leaderboard and actually tie them before this week, but they lost to Renegades, so now they have to win this one to basically to tie up with them. But I'm putting air quotes here because with the game differential the way it is, it's only one apiece right now, so they would tie with Mindfreak and then tie break them for first place with that game differential. But that's enough stats. That's enough stats for now. Let's take a look at who's jumping onto the field, because first up, it's Mindfreak, Ghost, Requiem, and Fever. These guys have had probably the most consistent season in OCE I've seen.
Yeah, they've looked great. I think Ghost and Requiem, we picked them out every week, and Fever's played good as well. I think the story of this game is Requiem leaving Ground Zero, getting replaced by Express, and then joining this Mindfreak team where people were saying, oh, it could be good, you know, put them middle of the standings maybe, and they shot up to the top, looked fantastic week after week. So this is a real test for him to show that maybe they shouldn't have let go of him.
Yeah, and you mentioned their opponents. Ground Zero, Requiem's previous team. But of course, let's take a look at who's playing for them now. It's Jules, Decker, and Express. And all three of these players are competing for accolades in some form. You've got Jules competing, he's currently first for Golden Striker, Express first for Playmaker, Decker second in both of them. Ground Zero are really eating up all these accolades.
Yeah, when they're playing well, they look great, and that's why those stats are so high. I mean, they've had some 6-0 wins and whatnot in games, so if they can kind of get the ball rolling, then they could easily sweep up Mindfreak in this match.
Yeah, and of course, we talked about, you know, Requiem playing on Ground Zero previously. Let's talk about that featured player matchup, because Requiem is one of those players. He's going up against Express as well, basically the player that replaced him. So taking a look at these numbers, you mentioned that Ground Zero, when they win hard. So do these numbers reflect that?
Yeah, I think Express is looking good. I mean, he's probably the most defensive player on that team. Jules and Decker are usually the ones upfield, so for even him to have so many assists and goals to his name and have the saves up there as well, it's pretty insane. So great numbers from him, and Requiem still good numbers on his side as well. So I think both teams kind of won out of this exchange, so we'll have to see which one actually gets the better of the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a difference in them, you could say Requiem converts more of his goals that he shoots, but then you see Express shoots more, so it kind of is up in the air at the moment. I think the real test, and maybe a test that not a lot of people expected, gets to be now, because we've all the way till the end of the season, we get the clash at the top of the table. It's not the teams we expected, but it's certainly going to tell us who, and you know, with most recently acquired stats, it's going to tell us who is the strongest team going into playoffs. We're going to get the best idea of that right now.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, these players are fighting for MVP of the season, so this could be the match to kind of decide that. I think a lot of them are gunning for that with stats and performances week after week, so a good performance here could maybe take that accolade out for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, because of course we talk about the Golden Striker, the Playmaker accolades, but MVP is the big one. It's more than it's 2.5 times the prize pool of all the other accolades. So of course you're going to be going for that one. So what better match to prove yourself as not just MVP of the day, but MVP of the whole season? You come in here at top of the table. We're not going to find better talent here if you go off the leaderboard, right? This is your best chance to shine, best chance to come in and lock yourself at the top. And then, like you said, get that MVP over the entire season.
Yeah, I would say the only one that's really gunning for it as well that's not in this game would be Amphis. So if the players don't really show up and Amphis does, then maybe he could snatch it at the end. But yeah, I think all these players are not only gunning for those accolades, but just to kind of be that top spot and be the team that everyone's looking to beat going into playoffs.
Yeah, and let's also quickly, as we're just getting the players into lobby, guys, don't worry, the game is about to start, but let's talk about the implications, right? Because it's the match for first seed, right? And, you know, bragging rights and accolades aside, it means you get the better seeding going to the playoffs. You get to play against the 4th spot, which right now could be really interesting. It could be Esper, it could be Fury, it could be Renegades. We don't know, right? So regardless, though, it's do you want to kind of gamble and see, do you want to play one of those teams, or do you want to play definitely Cringe Society or Fury? I'm not too
it's
sure.
really
But
interesting.
right now, you want to win.
Yeah, it's interesting because it could be any of those teams. A lot of them looking good, but Ground Zero off the bat, off the kickoff, getting an early goal for themselves. 7 seconds in, and Express finds it from the corner.
Yeah, I mean, Ground Zero don't even give us time to breathe, let alone finish our sentence as they get a goal within 7 seconds. So what a way to start the series, what a way to kick things off, and all there off the back of Express there. So let's get a kickoff properly going here, and let's see if it can go a bit back and forth before we hit one of these nets.
Yeah, midfield duel there by Requiem, and gets the better of his teammates, both back at net, so no one to really follow that one up. Express is over Fever, puts it wide though, not on target, and Requiem will clear.
Yeah, and so they try to get it past, but Ground Zero bring it back once more from the halfway mark, really starving Mindfreak out of all their boost as well, and fighting them for the ball at every opportunity. All three members very far forward. You can see Express even turning around to steal the ball away here. And he goes in, he does it very, very professionally too. Gets it over into the corner now. Looking for the pass to midfield. Ghost won't catch it, lets it go over to the corner, but that just lets it get bumped over to the side. Maybe, actually now Requiem might have it. He gets it past Jules, but no one else is there to clean it up, and that won't be converted into a goal.
Yeah, it's almost like a one-man army both sides. I mean, one player goes and two stay back. No one's really pushing themselves too far past the halfway line, because we know the talent and threat that both these teams pose. So just one counter-attack could be a goal.
Yeah, but that might be all Mindfreak can rely on at the moment, because Ground Zero keep pushing them back onto their side. Now we finally get Mindfreak pushing forward. But it's very quickly shut down. It's very quickly shot back to halfway. And if Ground Zero get a pass, which they do, then Mindfreak, they're back on the defense.
Bit of a corner duel coming out from Ground Zero here, trying to keep it in Mindfreak's half, but good little clearance from Ghost to Fever on the wall here. If he can win that 50-50, this could look good for them, but no, doesn't win it in the end as Jules comes to back up his teammate.
Oh, Jules, he goes to fight Requiem, but Requiem gets a pretty good boost off towards the net. But now Express has moved up to try and start shooting it in towards Mindfreak's net, but Fever gets a very good clear, and he's going to try and fight for it here. Does get a good one. Requiem sends it towards the net, but it's oh so slow, and so Express will keep it out and even start pushing it forward up the field.
Yeah, it was a good play by Fever there. A nice little 50-50 win, but Requiem and Nothing in Tank couldn't find the power on that shot. But a nice little aerial there from him, just pounces, hits the crossbar, and doesn't go in, and then Ghost's shot is too weak and can't beat Decker in net. Mindfreak getting so close, and Requiem will find it with a little dunk on Express.
Yeah, and it took a little while, it took a little bit of time, but Fever gets a pretty good pass off the corner there, and Requiem sees this moment, goes up into the sky, slams it down, evens it up now between Mindfreak and Ground Zero, and it was looking a little dicey, and it was looking like maybe Mindfreak wouldn't find a way to get it into the net, but they managed to do it, they managed to even it up, and now I feel like they might be able to do it again because they've got it forward over onto the orange side, and the question is, can they keep it here? Yeah,
that goal came from just maybe a minute of constant pressure. It's good to see from Mindfreak. They started off a little frigid with their attack and didn't really want to push up too much. And then as soon as all three players join in on that attack, you see how dangerous it looks.
Yeah, and still, we now get pushed back to the Mindfreak net, and it's shot once, shot twice, and Jules is the one to get it in.
Yeah, Decker forcing 2 saves, almost 3 of them here. Gets kept up, but just lands in front of Jules. Ghost is on the wall, not expecting that, and that's an easy goal for Jules to snatch up.
Yeah, and Decker doing a lot of the groundwork setting that one up, like he said, bringing up 2 defenders. Oh no, this one, they're going so close to the net. Requiem can't get there in time to be lucky to score that net, and so with that, Ground Zero keep the lead.
How close was that kickoff? Oh, almost crept in the corner there, but didn't get the luck of the bounce, and means the Ground Zero still on the lead with 1:30 coming up on the clock.
Yeah, now Fever through the air again, over to Requiem again. He takes the shot and he will secure that one. And this is a tight game, 1:30 to go.
Yeah, Fever doing everything in the air here, beating out 2 with Jules on the wall with a whiff, and then Express having to rush back into net. Requiem has all the time in the world to place it where he can't get it, and does so. So that's even up, 1:30.
Man, I gotta say, Fever stepping up in the game that matters the most. He's setting it up for his team and letting them take these shots. Now, over to Ground Zero though, because it's all on them to take that first place seed. They've kept it back from this half so often. They're moving in, they're even taking a shot here. It was set up to Jules from a mile back.
Yes, looks like Jules is looking for that MVP and the golden striker here. Looks like he's going to rotate, but as soon as that pass comes through, quick to it, first man up, just puts it on target. That's all they needed.
Yeah, and it's just little moments like that where they can jump onto it in time, react in time to take the goal that keeps Ground 0 ahead. And again, it's into their hands because Mindfreak aren't going to go over and fight for that one. 1 minute to go. Decker through the air. He's done this before. Sets it up in front of the net. Who's going to go and send it in? Is it going to be Jules? No, they leave it. They let Mindfreak collect it up. Still 1 goal apart. Ground 0 ahead, and they might change that. Jules doesn't get it in. Sends it over to Decker now. Can Decker get it to the center? Can he steal it away from Ghost? No. Ghost takes it out of his hands.
One more goal from Ground 0 here could seal this game, but not finding it there it could cost them as Mindfreak now coming charging. Ghost winning a 50-50 in the corner, but it looks like Decker will clear this 2 back though. He's got a lot to beat if he wants to get at it.
Yeah, Decker, you got to watch out for him. Although, you got to watch out for Ghost as well. Now this is in front of the net. Oh, too high. Requiem gets pushed up. And now with that, they've got 24 seconds. They can still find it. They can still find one shot here. It's got to be on Fever. He's going to have to set it up for someone to shoot it in. He bounces it off the wall. It's centered, but it's straight into Decker, who sends it right down the field and shuts down their chances of getting it in. It goes towards the Mindfreak net in the final seconds here. We might go up in the air. We might go to 0 seconds. But right now, it feels like Ground 0 might have this one in the bag. It's got to be the shot here for Mindfreak if they can get it in. And it goes to the ground instead. And with that, Ground 0 take game 1.
We got a game on our hands here though. Smite, that game was so close. Mindfreak could have easily found that goal to take us to overtime, but Jules with 2, managing to clinch it for Ground 0, and they take game 1.
Yeah.
The game was so good, we got to save the replay.
So good. I was gonna make that joke, man. Come on. We gotta
be quick.
We gotta meme the production as a team. But all things serious now. Ground 0, 1 game, and it's close. Right? It's close because Mindfreak are fighting back. I've got to say though, it feels like Ground 0 have control just a little more. Maybe I'd probably put it like 65-35 if there was a percentage of them holding the ball, pushing it forward at an estimate. So right now, what does Mindfreak look like if they can start getting that possession back?
Well, to be honest, I think that game was only really won from that kickoff goal right at the start. So if they were switched on from the get-go, then it might have gone to overtime. I probably wouldn't even put it 65-35. I would probably put it 55-45. It was that close. Just one kickoff the other way, and it could have been Mindfreak's game. So I want to see them bounce back. I mean, they looked good. Nothing looked bad. There was no real mistakes. Maybe a couple double commits here and there that gave up pressure, but nothing too dangerous.
Yeah, someone that did stand out for me, though, I mean, it had to be Decker as well. I mean, Jules isn't an easy choice, but Decker set it up a lot for him. I mean, you could see he had a lot of assists during that match. He also took a lot of shots during it. Shots that ended up actually just being passes to Jules to get it in.
Yeah, a lot of the shots were just baiting out a keeper, or even 2. Sometimes he had the double commits come through, and it just was enough to open up a bit of space for his teammates to come in. I think that's where his assists are really coming from. You see, just little things like that, mechanics that just open up an easy shot. Fever and net, though, manages to keep it out and takes it the other way, goes under Ground 0 there, and Ghost will be up first, but Express coming off the ceiling, swipes that out of his hands.
Yeah, what a weird turn of results here. We're still in front of the Ground 0 net, but I think they finally managed to push it all the way back, but Mindfreak not finding that one in there. This is in front of their net. Jules was going to take a shot, but it's sent all the way back to his net. Requiem has rushed forwards to try and send it in, but with all of Ground 0 back, Mindfreak going to take it carefully, but not Fever, who goes in, steals it with a 50-50, but that's into the hands of Ground 0 over there. Requiem had to push it away.
Jules has got this in the corner though, goes past it, no boost. Double commit from Ground 0, a clearance here, could be a counterattack. Ghost doesn't really get a good hit, decides to control it as well, and loses out in that 50-50 in the midfield, so now pressure going back the other way.
Yeah, and Decker goes in to fight for it too, but now Requiem through the air, bringing it into the hands of Express, but very much further down the field. So with that, it does take one good shot, but it's set up for Fever, and Mindfreak pick up the first goal of the second game.
Yeah, great team goal here. You see Ghost get the pass off to Fever, and then immediately Requiem, instead of going for that shot, just looks for a keeper, tries to block in. Enough pressure was created that Fever just has an easy shot on net. Almost puts it over the bar, but does enough to kind of top bins it in the top right there.
And Deca trying to be a little tricky there, but one-on-one, oh no, it just rolls towards the net. Oh, you got punished so hard for that.
Oh man, you just see it, that's Ground Zero trying to push up too much, and the rotation's just not there, leaving the net open. Fever, not even a chip, just powers it past Ground Zero. Gets the second goal from Mindfreak. They got a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, that could be a game-changing goal, that one, because it certainly is going to hit the morale of Ground Zero to see it just roll into their net. And now with that, Mindfreak can just play a whole lot more conservatively. Just keep the ball out, you keep the lead. That is not going to be enough for that, though, as Ground Zero with that will continue to keep up and catch up.
Yeah, Requiem, you see him in front of net there, just fails his aerial and immediately drops to the ground. Probably was going up for a save there. Maybe Fever said it was his before he got bumped and left the net open for Ground Zero to claw one back. Only one goal in this.
Oh, and Deca almost tried to get a double touch there. Is sent to Jules, who sends it back to Deca. They're going to look for the pass to the midfield, but it gets pinched all the way back to Jules over here. So pretty good for Mindfreak here to buy a whole lot of time, because time is still very good for them. There's still one goal ahead.
Yeah, they would like a bit of insurance here, though. One goal isn't enough. As we see Ground Zero, every time they get the ball, do look dangerous, especially in these 1v1 scenarios.
Yeah, and they're winning a lot of these 50-50s as well. Ghost finally finds a good shot, finds a good clear, and gets it over to the corner, which lets Fever steal it away. Does he have anyone to set it up to? It is oh so close, but no one was there from the Mindfreak to go and push it in. And with that, the demo onto Requiem lets Ground Zero get all the way back. Jules gonna go fight for it too. It's passed away over his head. Now with that, Mindfreak keep the ball.
Fever's mechanics have really surprised me this game. We haven't really seen him pull too much magical things, but as soon as it matters, he's just pulling out everything. And if someone was up there in that last play, that would have easily been a goal. He created so much space and forced out 2 saves from Ground Zero. Just needed that teammate to back him up and get that insurance goal, but instead, still 1 goal.
Oh yeah, still very close together between these two teams, and now we're still up against the Mindfreak net. I feel like we're here more often than not. The Mindfreak are very quick to clear it back sometimes, so just keep an eye on it. Express holding onto the ball, it's into Jules, but he's pushed away by Requiem, keeping that one out, keeping Mindfreak ahead.
I thought that was it. I was going to say, you should have got that insurance goal if this wouldn't happen, but it's going back the other way. Ghost in front of the net manages to get the save on Jules. It's so close to an equalizer, and they still got pressure.
Yeah, and they're still holding it out for now, despite the endless shots that Ground Zero seem to be taking. They finally get a good clear, but it's still over to Express. It's still kept in this blue half. It's still a minute to go. Mindfreak, if they can weather the storm, they may be able to come out of this one unscathed. Express catches it, gets it to the corner. He wants to pass it back off a rebound. Looking for someone, but everyone from Mindfreak is here. Everyone's pushing it out of his hands, and now Ghost has got it. Who's going to send it out? It's Jules, actually. Takes a shot, but Requiem was already there. And Mindfreak can't get it out of the half right now. But they're okay as long as they can keep it out of the net.
Requiem in a 1v1 here against Express. This replacement, Express manages to just bully his way through that one and win that 50-50, but Deca not managing to carry that dribble on. Express just gets to it before the Mindfreak player and keeps this stuck in their half. Jules is up here for the double touch, does find it but not on target.
Yeah, and now this is the time where Ground Zero have to score a goal. They've got 20 seconds. Mindfreak had possession, but Ground Zero wrested it back. This is where they've got to find that shot with only 12 seconds left. They've got to take it away from Fever. They can't let him just hold it in the air. Deca has to win this 50-50. He doesn't, and now Fever can just go by him. His team might catch it. They might be able to keep it in the air, but it's got to be super awkward by this point.
No!
No way!
Oh, no!
Deca, are you serious?
What happened here? How is this kept in the air? Ghost doesn't win the 50-50. Deca lands perfectly. Requiem pushed all the way up to try and kill the ball, and Deca puts in a 0-second goal to send us to overtime in game 2. Are you kidding me?
Okay, here we are in overtime once, and so with that, Mindfreak get a good kick off and they push it forward a little bit for now, but Ground Zero Oh man, I still can't believe we're here. But now they're in front of the net. Oh, this could be a quick overtime, but Mindfreak keep it out for now. They're even pushing it forward along the field. Jules catches it, bounces it back, but Requiem takes the shot to win it in overtime.
Requiem's shot was nice, but Fever did all the work here. It's a little flick to beat the defense, and then the bumps on Jules to open this up for Requiem. Oh man, what a play. Only 20 seconds in that overtime. It was a quick one.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're probably sweating if you're Mindfreak. You didn't even expect to be in overtime. I don't think they even realized they were in overtime by the time they got their goal, but that said, a good win, a good clean win there, a good quick one in overtime for Mindfreak to take that one out, and it's a good mental reset as well. If Ground Zero had won that one there after getting that miraculous 0-second goal, you know, that could be a completely different thing. They'd now be 2-0 down in the series. They'd have to go back with a reverse sweep. Now, instead, they've evened things up. They've kept their heads clear. And now we're basically back to stage one, except now it's a best of 3 instead.
Yeah, I think that's really good for the mental. I mean, conceding a 0-second goal always kind of puts your head down, but to immediately bounce back 20 seconds into overtime and get that winner just kind of resets everything. And if anything, it puts it back onto ground zero to say, what have you got? You put in the 0-second goal, but we've got overtime. So, you know, they're just matching them everywhere.
And it's great because this is kind of like a taster for the playoffs. We've got the two best teams, at least on the leaderboard right now, facing off against each other, and it's close, right? They're going at it. It's tied up series. We're going to overtimes. It really shows a lot of promise for next week's games where we take the best teams and see how they look against each other. But for now, still in the middle of the series, we've got to say who's looking like the stronger team right now because it was still close. Mindfreak did only just edge that one out.
Honestly, I can't pick it. I think they're so evenly matched. I mean, we said after the first game it was like a 45-55 split. I reckon it's 50-50 now. Both these teams just coming out firing. It's whoever makes the least mistakes, I'd say, and there's far and few of them.
Yeah, we haven't even had to call out basically any mistakes so far. Both teams have been very on point, very clean. Let's open now. Let's get back into it. Let's see what they can do here on game number 3. It's not a 7-second goal like it was in game 1, so at least if you're Mindfreak, you're probably pretty happy about that. Now, Jules, once again, going to the net, but he gets the ball taken away from him up in the sky. His teammate will catch it, but Express will get caught out over on the blue side. Every member from Ground Zero now forward. Deco moving up to try and take that shot, but it's taken away. He has to rush back to catch this one. Jules actually catches it, disrupts the push by Mindfreak, although they do get it up, and Fever, just all on his own, gets it in.
Yeah, I don't know how Fever managed to get this back. Someone from Ground Zero, Express has gone for boost. Should have gone straight off the wall, cleared it. Instead tried to be selfish, thought his teammates had it, but ends up costing them a goal there. Interesting turn of events in the first minute.
Yeah, props to Fever though for seeing his moments, taking his chance. Requiem will keep this one out, but yeah, with that, Fever keeps his team 1 goal up. He might be doing it again, but just a little too high to send that one in. And now with that, Jules is going to try and punish him. Tries to get it by Requiem, but he cannot do so. Now with that, Ground Zero do continue their attack, Express through the air. Mindfreak continue to shut that down. Jules is going to take his own shot. But with that, I think Mindfreak may have grabbed it. They might not get it out of their half, but they may hold on to it here.
Fever's been surprising me time and time again this series. I mean, if we had an award for Rookie of the Split, I think it's between him and Amphis. Both of them really good players, and Fever showing that maybe it should be him.
Yeah, well, he still has at least a few more games to show us what he's got, at least here in League Play in their final match. So, Mindfreak, with their 1 goal, they get it up towards the Ground Zero net, priming it up for the second, but that demo on the Ghost certainly going to slow things down, and Jules knows it as he takes his time, but Requiem, he's an impatient man. He wants to come in and get things going again and tries to push it into the net. Ghost up with him as well. Both players looking to find their shot. He's trying to do something up here on the roof, but he doesn't find it. Ghost keeps it forward though. Fever as well, but with that, it goes back to the Mindfreak net.
Yeah, dangerous there. The Fever pushed up, didn't fully win that 50-50, but Requiem the other way. Can he find off the wall? No, just lands underneath it. Can't find that second goal. Now we go back the other way with a counterattack, but Ghost wins it in midfield, gets the second touch, passes it off to Fever. His shot over the bar, back to Requiem. No, he's turned around, decided to play defensive with that 1 goal lead.
Mindfreak are getting ridiculously good at just stealing it away mid-pass, especially when it's in Ground Zero's half. I mean, expect to find that here again and just right up in the air. Requiem finds it too. So now we're starting to see Mindfreak keep it forward, keep it in Ground Zero's half, and start their attack constantly. And so this is what I was kind of talking about. What does Mindfreak look like when they can keep it pushed forward? It looks like so far a 1-goal lead.
What I'm seeing though is both teams getting a bit dirty with some bumps and demos. A nice pass off from Jules there to Decker, just right in front of the keeper's nose, and gets around him, evening up this game.
Yeah, pretty tough to get it by Ghost, but does manage to do it there for Decker, evening it up as well. Fantastic for both of these sides. An even match to be sure. Another kickoff, and these have been a little fun throughout the series, but this one's just going to be a little more regular. Ground Zero can get it forward again. Let's go to the corner, but Express, he's going to sit back to his own corner in a few seconds as he gets demoed, but he doesn't need to be up there, as Jules and Decker can get it done.
Yeah, this last couple minutes has been all Ground Zero. We thought Mindfreak were ahead in this one, but couldn't convert their chances, and now Ground Zero's taken a late lead in this one, 1:40 left on the clock.
A late lead is still a lead though, Watson, and they keep it for now. Remember, we have seen Mindfreak stealing away a lot of these passes, and they might be doing it again here. Fever gets a pretty good one, a pretty good intercept, but no teammates there to go for his follow-up and take a shot in. Requiem does come up now that he's been patiently waiting, although constantly just intercepting these passes. Both sides actually taking their shots now too. Finally looking for their chance to even it up, but Jules looks like he's grabbed it. He's holding on to it. He gets it by not one, not anyone, but does pass it to Express. Does end up going just to the corner.
Saved by Ghost, man. He was facing the wrong way, knew he was in trouble, but managed to force it to the corner and buy himself time to really redirect there. You see Decker winning at midfield though, as Mindfreak were pushing up. Doesn't collect it though, and so pressures back into the midfield. Jules catches this. Can he get the flick? No, tries to go under Fever. Express will go, but Requiem after the bump gets the save, keeps his team in it. 45 seconds to go. They need to find a goal.
Oh, Ground Zero had such a cool setup for that goal, but they managed to keep it out. Mindfreak with a spectacular defense. Now, 1 goal up. They have to find a goal now to catch up to Ground Zero. And now that they've got it into their half, 30 seconds to go, this is where they've got to do it. They can't let Jules get this one, but he does get it, and he pushes it forward. Now, it's Mindfreak. Once more, they've got to play defense unless they get a good clear and get it by Decker. They managed to at least get it a little bit by him, but right now, back and forth. And this is not what you want to be. Oh, just barely into the Mindfreak net. That would have been a nail in the coffin for sure. Ground Zero, they would have loved to get that one in. Oh no, no way. They let this one slide. No, of course not. Decker is there in time, but another one is shot, but it's saved by Jules, and this one stays alive. We saw a 0-second goal before. It was Ground Zero last time. Can Mindfreak find it this time to bring us to overtime? It's still up in the air. Requiem keeps it alive, but now it's still just barely not touching the ground, but there it is. It does indeed touch the ground. Ground Zero win game 3, 2-1 up in the series, match point.
Oh, what a close last final moments of that game. I thought Mindfreak were going to find it, do the opposite to what Ground Zero did last game, but sadly could not. And so we go to game number 4 with Ground Zero in the lead. 1 goal, just take this and give them first seat going into playoffs as well. So important game number 4 here.
Yeah, it's incredibly close in the tightest match of the series, the most important series of basically the entire league to decide who's getting that first place seed, and Ground Zero are 1 game away from doing it. Mindfreak, they caught up last time, they evened it up, so they're certainly not out on this one. The games themselves, the individual games, have been very close, 1 goal apiece in a lot of them, overtime in one of them as well. So question is, what do Mindfreak need to step up, or is it just a case of who's going to make the less mistakes in this match?
No, I think it's the physical game that's doing wonders for Ground Zero. We saw them just turn it on there, looking for bumps and demos at every opportunity, and it just kind of put Mindfreak on the back foot there. They weren't sure whether there was going to be a demo coming in every time they go onto the ball, and so kind of makes them second guess every touch. So I think if they kind of take it to Ground Zero and match them in that physicality, then maybe we could see them inch back into the series. But if they just kind of let themselves get into that mind game of thinking that they're going to be demoed every time they're on the ball, then I think that's where Ground Zero just takes it.
Yeah, mentally demoed, maybe you could say, as you're constantly worrying about it. You're basically playing like you are going to be demoed, but There it is, game number 4. Let's get into it. Ground Zero are 1 game away from locking in that first place seed. Mindfreak fighting back. Remember, the winner of this series, doesn't matter by how much you win, the winner of the series will take that first seed.
Yeah, and possibly even MVP if there's a good performance to be pointed out. So a lot on the line here, and also these stats, these player accolades are so close. Ground Zero kind of
Now Express pushes it forward as well. Requiem has been fighting for this ball every single time. And you can see him up in the air so often. Decker going for the double touch, but can't redirect it with the right angle, so Jules has to go and catch this one. But Ghost is there first. So with that, Mindfreak push up.
Ground Zero almost just feels like they're trying to keep it away from Mindfreak, never really going for the net, just trying to take it away from them and find the open net first before taking those shots. Maybe just a few shots on target will kind of bait out the keeper, but instead just opting to go side to side, wait till there's an opening.
Yeah, not sure on the whole relying on Ground Zero to make mistake strategy, because I mean I'm sure it'll happen eventually, but I'm sure you'll make a mistake eventually too. And so with that, they have to not make a mistake here, as it's in front of their net. One shot misses and it does bounce back, but Decker takes his one and gets it by all the defenders and gets the first goal of the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure this bump on Fever really came through, but you see the pressure there. No real bump, he just misses it. Probably should have had the save there. I think it was just that the pressure of the demo coming through made him jump early and waste his flip and not get to it. So a goal lead, almost a late lead. We're past the halfway mark in game number 4, and it's Ground Zero looking to seal this one up here.
Yeah, a little high for that one, but it may have been set up. 4 passes in the end, but it's what it takes as Jules gets the second goal here for Ground Zero. I was going to say that first one was crazy, but that second one put so much pressure on the Mindfreak now.
Yeah, just placed it perfectly, knew where the keepers were at, and just need to put it on that right side of the net, get around the ball, and did exactly that. 2-goal lead to Ground Zero, 2 minutes to go. Mindfreak is still in this, but it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, this is the uphill climb now that they've got to come for. They've got to win 2 games in a row. They've got to win, get at least 2 goals in a row. And now with that, they might get their first one as Fever zooms up after it's set up for him by his team.
I don't know where the third man from Ground Zero was during this play, but just looked like Jules and Express in net and Decker searching for something. And instead, it's a goal back. Still 2 minutes left.
So keeps them in this one, keeps them alive. 2 minutes, and they only need to find 1 goal. Fever holding on to this one, gets it past Jules as well. Should be able to set this one for his team. Goes for the play instead, though. And so with that, they hold on to it for now, but don't get a goal, don't set anything up. Requiem catches it. Is he going to go for the play? He goes for the corner. But Ground Zero should grab this one back.
Just kind of a stalemate in midfield here. Requiem has the flip, decides to use it late. Jules was waiting for him to use it, and so nothing really came through. Ghost comes flying through, trying to force it in, but the 3 in net, not going to happen. Express will clear.
Yeah, at this point, though, Mindfreak have to start trying to force it in. They've got to find 1 more goal here. It's in front of the net. Decker has to save it. He doesn't even have to save it, actually, as it just bounces to the side, but that one has to be saved. And it is. It's kept out. The Requiem won't find the game securing goal.
How have they not scored there? They had so many opportunities, and I think it was Fever's shot that went wide first, and then Ghost shot, just not enough power on it, and then Requiem too slow to put it in. Oh man, should have sealed it there, tied up the game, but now they've got a minute to try and find that last goal, and it's taken so much just to get it up the field.
Yeah, and I think now they've got to focus on holding onto it, holding control. They take another shot, but Ground Zero should just catch this one if they can get it clear. No, Requiem goes for it, but misses. Instead, Fever has to catch it. But now, Express and Jules, together they'll get it pretty far up, but not far enough, not even past halfway. Ghost pushes it up, over to Requiem. This is the play that they need. Requiem, over up in the sky, he's getting pushed around though. All three members of Ground Zero are back. They know they just need to hold that 1 goal lead. Fever, we praise this man so much. Can he get it done? Over, under Decker, but we forgot there were 2 more defenders and Jules keeps it out for now. Could have been the one, and this is where they have to find it. The final seconds now for Mindfreak here in the last game. Potentially 1 more second, and Mindfreak are not anywhere near Ground Zero's net. Requiem has caught it, but it bounces onto the ground, and Jules will just let it roll on off him as Ground Zero take the series, and they take first seed going into playoffs.
What a close game to finish it as well. All of these games super close, but Ground Zero just inching ahead and managing to take out first seed going into playoffs. I mean, we saw them do it last season, but it didn't really work out too well.
Yeah, and so crazy series there for the boys, but Ground Zero, they get it done, and they get it done with a 3-1, making it look a little more convincing near the end. But even then, I would say this is a very tight series between these 2 teams, and it could go either way once we hit playoffs.
Yeah, I think both these teams looking strong going into playoffs. Even Mindfreak with that loss, they still look good in every game, and only 1 goal in each match. So I can't wait to see what they pop up. Maybe if there was 7 games and it was a playoffs game, they could have crawled back into it. But sadly, that's their season ended, and we'll see them next week in playoffs.
Yeah, and so with that, we've got to talk about MVP for these teams for the last time here. So, of course, I mean, Ground Zero, I think, for that team, Jules and Decker both kind of pop up here, but I want to talk about Decker, I think, because he made a lot of those plays.
Yeah, he did, especially in the early matches, was forcing his way through to kind of get those assists. So I'll be interested to see if he managed to get enough points to secure that for him. But I think, yeah, Decker really stepped up in this one. Jules and Express always play well, so it was good to see Decker kind of go above and beyond this week. All
right, well, there it is, guys. Decker, the MVP, and Ground Zero, your winner for the first match of the day. Now we have 3 more matches to go. Next up is Overt versus Renegades in a must-win series for the defending champions. So after the break, make sure you're here for that match.
This is just clinical. Get the ball here. Beep, 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 a rocket gives you that. Beep, beep, that.
Now that we've been in lockdown for just on a week now, some of you might be starting to experience what's known as the 7-day twitch, where you're feeling cooped up, so you think maybe it's okay to go over to a mate's place for a couple of beersies or a couple of winesies, or go for a drive and take selfies on the empty streets. Please don't do this. We need to stay in our bubbles and enjoy a bit more indoor time if we're going to beat this thing. Minogue?
I've had enough, O'Leary. I've got to get out of here, man.
And what on earth are you doing?
I formed a tribe with my dog Tinker because my brother Adam's gone full Mad Max. He's got a spiky leather helmet and a leather jerkin, and he's claimed the kitchen and the bathroom as his own, part of his new country, Adamland. He's controlling the water. We've got to escape.
When I look, calm down. Like, it's only been 7 days, okay? You just need to work out a way to make up with Adam and share the whole flat together.
Yeah, but I've spent 4 days putting together this really cool fort in the bedroom. It'd be a shame to waste it.
Okay, well, maybe you could suggest to watch Mad Max then, instead of him having to behave all like that.
No, it'll never work, but I'll give it a go. Hey, Adam, you want to watch Mad Max in the bedroom? Okay.
See, that wasn't too hard, was it? We all need to stay indoors and get on with our fellow bubble mates if we're going to beat this thing. So if you feel yourself starting to get the 7-day twitch, go for a walk near your house. Maybe you could clear out the garage, or you could pretend your backyard's Fiji and do a spot of sunbathing. But don't freak out and break the rules. Kia kaha. Be strong and do the right thing. Don't be the one to pass it on. How's your movie?
We decided against Mad Max. Tinker's already seen it. She's not a fan of Charlize Theron. We've gone for something more uplifting.
Oh yeah, what are you going to watch?
Fight Club. We've got Marmite in my arm.
Is that Marmite?
Marmite.
Is that Marmite?
Smells like it.
You are forever mine. You are mine, and that's fine. I will protect you all the time, because you're mine. Oh, the places we will go. We are forever.
精致产品，美妙生活 ，Conca。
Welcome back, everyone. We've locked in our first seed with Round 0 taking out Mindfreak this morning in the LPL Pro Rocket League ANZ Championship. We're back. My name is Matt Smite Ross. Mr. Watson is here too. And yeah, I mean, what a kick-ass series we had first up. But Watson, I want to move your thoughts to the second series, Overt versus Renegades. And now we know this is an important match.
Yeah, I think everyone's looking at this one to see if Renegades can keep their playoff dreams alive. Over down the standings a little bit, but had the upset win against Cringe Society, so could be the ones to keep Renegades from playoffs.
Yeah, a really random team to have your one win against here for Overt, but it shows they can take some of the bigger dogs down. Renegades, though, very big surprise to see them this far down the leaderboard, fighting for their life. We'll get into the specifics of what this match means after we go through the rosters. So let's kick off things with Overt. First up is going to be their lineup. It's going to be Zen, Misty, and Noisy. Now, to be clear, these guys are out of playoffs. They're playing Spoiler, they're playing for Glory, and they're playing to take down the Renegades. Can they do it?
I would love to see them do it, and I mean, it's quite funny that Zen, an ex-teammate of Kami, could be the one to keep him out of playoffs this season as well. So maybe he's just looking to kind of upset his friend there. We'll have to see. Some games they've been playing well together, other games they just look like a mishmash of players thrown together, and there's no real gel or connection between them. They just kind of are playing solo standard, I think. So I want to see them play well today. I mean, they took down Cringe in a past week, so I think they can take down Renegades, but it will be a tough task.
Yeah, so speaking of the Renegades, let's take a look at their lineup. This means a lot for them this series. We'll talk about why in a second, but it's CJ, Kami, and Siki. Now, these guys, we've seen them around forever. CJ, also one of the most popular players in the entire region. They're sitting here in 6th place after you factor in all the ties. let's talk about what they need to win. They need a 3-0 to basically not even put it in their own hands. They need a 3-0 in the series, and then they need Cringe Society to lose or Team Esper to beat Fury at least 3-2. And there's a few more scenarios that go into this, but the question again is, can they get it done? Can they 3-0 consistently here?
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. I think if they are going to win, it should be a 3-0. I think they have looked good during the weeks. It's just transferring that to Sundays. And I mean, last week we saw them take down Ground Zero, who are now the top team. So they've definitely got it in them. I don't think anyone's doubting them. It's just whether or not they're going to show up.
Yeah, all right. Well, before we get into the match properly, let's take a look at our featured player matchup for both of the teams. It's Zen and Akami. And I think I know why we picked this one. Previous teammates here, how do they compare?
Well, I think Zen's return to the league hasn't been too great. I mean, if you're on a losing team, those save stats are going to be up. But even his assists and goals are a little down. But Kami, still being in the middle of the pack as well, the stats are not up there. Last season, we saw some crazy stats coming up from the Renegades, especially Siki. But the shots up there, but goals lower. You can kind of see where the problem is. They're just not converting those shots into goals.
Yeah, and so with that, it maybe paints a little picture of how Overt could actually take out the series. I mean, their featured player, his stats, while they're lower than Renegades for sure, they compare. They actually compare, whereas if you tried to do this before the season even started, you'd say Overt and Renegades, don't even bother. Don't even bother comparing the stats. Renegades have got this. But now, there is, while we're still favoring Renegades for sure, there's a question. There's a question is, can Overt get 1 or 2 games? Can they win the series? Because that's one thing that is concrete. If Renegades lose the series, there is nothing they can do to stay in playoffs. They're out.
Yeah, it would be very, very interesting if they just got straight out here and we didn't have to kind of see what the other games go like to see who kind of see if they can make it. But I think they've got it in them. I mean, when their backs up against the wall, I think this is one team that will kind of come out fighting and will try and get that 3-0, if not just dominate this whole series. I can see some high-scoring games coming through, just only if they can convert those high amount of shots into goals.
Yeah, and as we kick things off, not to mention as well, Renegades just won a game where they come in and crush the team that's currently in last place. They're the defending champions for a reason. They've got a lot on the line here, and we're actually very close to their net, so I'll hold my breath a little bit. But these guys, they want to come back to glory. They want to be respected as the best team in the region again, so it starts here.
Yeah, it does start here, but a few early shots from Overt and just keeping it in Renegades' half. We know this is not where they like to have it. They like to be in the opponent's half and just keeping the pressure on themselves. But when their backs are up against the wall, in this sense, they don't really come up fighting too often than not.
Oh, what a powerful shot from Misty. Right there at the end of that assault. It gets passed off to the midfield. Noisy kind of intercepts it there. Misty, even with CJ in the way, squeezes it in. And wow, what a start for Overt. Maybe they can make it happen.
Misty with his name saying, I will lose to Renegades 3-0. It takes a 1-goal lead, so doing the opposite of what he's saying. Maybe trying to help out the Renegades spirits by changing his name to that, but not really matching his words with his actions.
Yeah, very tricky player here, but indeed, he'll still certainly be trying to win here. And now we're once again up against Renegades net, and Overt, they've been converting not too many of the shots, of course, with only one going in, but they've been taking a lot of shots here, so Renegades have to constantly be on the ball, but so do Overt, as Siki, even from halfway, can find that one in.
Yeah, this pass from CJ was perfect. The power on it, the weight of it, and just where it's placed is perfect. Siki just has to put it on target and he'll get it in because there's no one in net fast enough to save that.
Now with that, Overt again get a pretty decent kickoff unless Siki catches it and gets a good clear here, but no, they're all moving forwards and this is going to be Renegades on the defense once again, but they roll it forwards and Misty has to go back and catch it. And you got to imagine the Renegades are here to strike. As they come in, they steal it away. Siki gets it to the center field. CJ takes a shot, but it has to be Kami now to take the final one. But CJ actually redirects it at the end. What a trick, but they get it in.
Okay, Renegades stepping up. You see it here, Kami could have had the shot on Noisy instead. Passes it down to CJ. great decision making, like right at the end there. And that's really what makes them a top team, but the fact that they haven't been showing that in past weeks is so surprising.
That pass was so big brain, I can't believe it. It made it look like a shot right until the very end, right until we realized, oh, it's probably not going in, but it's a pass. But we're still here. Again, Renegades, like you said, they've turned the heat up. They're starting to activate a little bit here, and CJ is rushing up the field too. You can imagine he wants to take a shot, but he's actually back just to play defense a little bit. As Overt have pushed up again. One thing you got to say for Overt is they are good at getting the ball up and starting to take shots.
Yeah, they are, but Renegades being quite clinical with their shots and their plays here. Instead of just taking aimless shots and trying to force out the boost and the saves from the keepers, they're putting these passes on and forcing them out a different way, and it's working. I mean, they've got the lead so far in this match coming up to half-time. It's a nice change from what they've been trying to do in past weeks, obviously realizing that it's just not working for them.
Yeah, and now with that, Renegades have pushed it up again, and CJ has respawned and come back to the world of the living, and he may be even able to take a shot, but it's Sicky first. Now it's CJ. He's not passing it to anyone, not passing it to a teammate. Oh no, rushing up through the center field, but Kami can't get there in time. He still holds on to it, but didn't get to take the shot. And now we're still here. We're still waiting for that one Renegade shot that finds its way in, but good clear from Overt buys them some time.
Misty not finding his opportunity there, had the open net by himself, instead hits it over the bar and it goes the other way instead. Almost goes in, it was on the line but cleared out just in time. Kami will knock this up, looking for a pass, maybe a bump, but can't find anything, just drives past the goal. Overt will clear, and now it's a chance the other way. Zen, no boost to get that double touch. CJ will clear. As far as Noisy, it's still in the hat.
Yeah, and they're taking the shots, but they're not being converted here. Renegades keeping them out for now. Overt yet to get another goal since that one much earlier on. And so with that, Renegades are in the very comfortable position where there's just no pressure. They can just hold tight. Although, if that one went in, that would all change, and they still have a chance to do it, but 3 members of Renegades have made it back. 3 members of Renegades will hold it out. Overt might be able to take this one back, but Renegades' track record, I feel like they'll keep this one out too.
Oh, that was so nice from Misty. If he just got it over Kami there, it probably would have resulted in a goal. Beat all 3 players, almost. I mean, if he beat Kami, it would have been, but I like the aggression coming out from Overt now. The demo plays coming through. I mean, they're realizing that they've got to do something to try and crawl back into this game, and that's a way to do it. And it's buying them a lot of pressure. They just need to convert it into 1 goal and take this to overtime, but that ball's going the other way, just hits the post. Doesn't seal the game. It's in front of the net. Zen will clear. Misty's up over top of Kami, knocks it against the wall, touches it again, goes in front for Zen. Can't find the shot.
Yeah, this is where they've got to find it, though. They can't just keep taking these shots and missing. Eventually, they have to find it in, and Misty, he does find it in.
Yeah, Misty finding the space there, just blasts it off the top, knocks it down on Sicky, who's just far too slow to get up to that one. Probably should have been up before it even hit the wall.
And Overt are coming out with a fight here. They're making sure Renegades have to earn that spot in the playoffs. And it starts now. This goes to overtime, which it might in 20 seconds. This could be a lot of pressure on to the Renegades. And they are looking for 1 more goal. They want to skip that overtime, but they've got to do it in 10 seconds. I feel like we might go there anyway. But let's give it up for the Renegades. Let's see what they can do here. They can find it. They're taking 1 shot here, but it's just a very weak one. Not a lot of hope into that one. Very likely to hit the ground. Here we are. Overtime, Watson, with the Renegades versus Overt.
Yeah, should we repeat that Renegades have to win 3-0 to kind of keep their hopes alive? Anything less than that's going to be bad, but they keep it up. I mean, they get the 7-second goal. The pick-off pressure works out. Zen gets an unlucky touch there, and then Noisy can't clear it off the wall, just lands in front of Sicky, who hasn't had the best showings in past weeks, but is never missing that.
Yeah, well, Sicky did everything he had to there. It's just you know, nothing wrong, cleans it up, picks it up where it needs to be, wins it in overtime there. And going back to what you were saying just before he actually won that goal as well, is that with that one game, yeah, Renegades are on their track to get that 3-0 victory. And just to be clear, the 3-0 victory essentially makes it so that they just have to rely on Cringe Society losing a game or Esper winning the series later on today. So it gives them more chances to win, but a 3-1, a 3-2, then they have to have Cringe Society lose and a few other things to happen, like mostly Esper winning this series very hard, but not too hard, because it has to be basically even. It's a very, very hard position for Renegades to be in, so you just want to get that 3-0 and hope Cringe lose, which is still also not very likely.
They've got to do everything in their power to make it as easy as possible for the miracle to actually happen, but even a 3-0 here might not even secure them playoffs, so they've just got to play and pray. So getting the 3-0 is the best they can do, but after that, it goes down to the maths, which I'm sure Smite will figure out because I don't have the time to do that.
No, well, I'm lucky because, you know, the more games that are done, the more maths is already done for me. So there you go. We'll just get through the day, and then the maths will be so easy, even you can do it, Stephen. So then we'll... Don't worry. I'm sorry. That was a little harsh. But with that, we're still one game up here. Renegades, I mean, kind of expected for them to get the first game, but probably a bit closer than we really thought.
Yeah, I think Overt looked really good in that second half of the game. I mean, kind of switched it on, changed their play style, and kept Renegades on their toes, but Renegades starting strong here in front of the net, can't quite find the shot. It's been the problem all season. Misty couldn't get the clearance, and so pressure's still on. CJ will clean this up in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, the ball is just kind of like where are the people meant to hit me at the moment, because I wasn't going anywhere for a while, but finally we do get a clear from Overt very quickly. Caught up by Renegades, they hold on to it, they even get it past halfway, but not quite actually, as Overt do fight for it. It's actually a real tussle for the ball here, but with that open net, Siki winning it. No, Noisy says it's not open at all.
But it's still in their half. Renegades just not letting Overt catch a break. This is the style we often see them play, but the passes now intertwined with it is looking great. They just need to find that final goal, the final shot, sorry, to convert it into a goal.
Yeah, I mean, Renegades had that chance a little earlier before, didn't convert some of them again, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. They might have another chance here again as they get it further up a little bit. CJ was setting it up for Siki, but it gets taken away from him. It's rolling towards the Renegades net, but to the side, to the corner, it goes. They'll stay up for now, and Renegades even getting a decent clear.
Yeah, a minute and a half of pressure from Renegades is counted for nothing because they just can't find any shots. I mean, everything that they do put on is straight to a keeper. Passes getting blocked, but there it is, the first one that's not challenged. Results in a goal.
Yeah, and they take a little bit of time to set this one up, but it really does just come off Kami, setting it up easy to Siki, who can just basically choose his angle to get it by the defender. One goal up now for the Renegades, looking strong going into this one. Again, a must-win series. That's a fun kickoff as well, but it does go back into the hands of the Renegades. They get it past Noisy in the sky, past Misty as well, but Zen will catch it here at the end.
Yeah, and Zen beating Kami there, teasing in front of the net, almost drops under, but just hits the crossbar, and now there's a midfield battle for possession, but it looks like Renegades is winning that one. Noisy can get a good clearance, will go back the other way, but a little mishit on the wall there does win that 50-50. Kind of dunks on it, pushes CJ out the way, but not before the clearance comes through.
Yeah, it was almost a little bit of fun there for him, but instead it just results we're back here in the midfield with both teams just pushing it forward. We're waiting for one team to really get some decent control here. Basically just going to have to win a 50-50 in the opponent's half here. And it's going to be Overt's turn to do that. Zen doesn't win that one out, but Noisy comes forward, starts to take a shot, and now it's all up to Misty. Can't get it by the defenders. There's one more member of Overt, but CJ gets there first.
So close to that equalizer there, just needed that final shot to kind of get powered through the challenge there. Misty missing it in the corner, kind of result in that pressure falling flat. But Overt close to this equalizer.
Oh, I mean, it's close for sure, but that 0 is just going to be such a disappointment compared to the one they could have had. I would have evened up, the pressure would have been gone, and we could have gone to overtime. Maybe skipped it if Overt went up a little bit, but this one is all set up. CJ with all the control brings it over to Siki.
Yeah, just kind of fakes it out here. Instead of going for that early pass, waits to bait out the defender, and ends up making it even easier for Siki to put it in.
Yeah, and now 2 goals up. I mean, we've seen Renegades like this before against Overt, so it may change, but for now, It's a very strong lead, and they're even pushing it forward, although Noisy taking it away from CJ. They set this up, but Kami's going to take a shot, and that net, for some reason, is just absolutely open.
Yeah, Noisy just not getting good clearances, misses his flip. I think everyone from Overt were expecting that to go to the other side of the map, and so they're all over there collecting boosts, waiting for it, and Noisy just leaves the ball behind and gives a 3-goal lead to Renegades in game 2.
And you've got to say, how do you come back from that? Three goals down, CJ now setting it up for a 4th as well, especially if Kami can come in. Actually, from midfield,
there it is.
Takes 2 touches, it's just pushed out, but there's 3 members of the Renegades here, and 3 cars can push 1 ball in.
Yeah, I don't know how sick he got the goal in the end here. It was all 3 of them kind of made a little, just a tiny little pocket at the bottom left. Just slot that one in and they do so. 4-0 to Renegades, minute 20 on the clock. I think this one is as good as gold.
Yeah, I mean, before I can even talk about how much it sucks being 3-0 down, suddenly they're already 4-0 down. Overt have such an uphill battle, almost impossible for them to come back within a minute here. So just looking to reset here, get a few feel-good goals, maybe just tighten up that defense against the Renegades as they're against your net again, taking shots again. Siki doesn't find it in, although with all the follow-up, they might have found one more shot. That might have been it though, as they're now out of gas and Overt have held off that attack, but that just means they're not vibing.
Yeah, these shots still coming through though. They're just not even defending. They're just going for more and more shots and attacks here. Trying to make sure that they crush Overt in this game and put their heads down going into game number 3. Kind of crush all chances of a reverse sweep before it's even possible.
Yeah, and it's games like this, although as I hold my breath in front of the Renegades net, games like this that make me remember why we call the Renegades one of the best teams in the region, right? They come in here, they crush the team at the bottom of the ladder. It's very normal, very expected, and what we'd see from Renegades a year ago, or not even a year ago, just outside of Sundays as they get yet another goal here to make it 6, but or 5 actually. But yeah, as long as it's not Sunday, Renegades have looked fantastic, but now that it's Sunday again and they look good, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see Renegades not make playoffs, but for the sake of the league, how good would it be for them to still be in it, just to have this talent? Because if they can show this up on Sundays and if they make playoffs show up like this, it would be such a battle for first place. And I think the first time in a long time that we have teams just on the same level.
And with that, game 2 will come to a close. Renegades stomping that one out. Kind of felt like it was over once that 3-0 started, but 4-0 certainly secured it. And then just to rub it in 5-0 makes it even better. But Renegades now 2-0 up. This is where we were expecting them to be. The 3-0 will, again, let me remind everyone, not secure the spot in the playoffs, I believe, because they still need Cringe Society to lose. And so that'll be the next series, but we'll have to get to that in a moment. We're still waiting for Renegades to clean it up, finish off the series 3-0. Is this, now after that game, is this over looking like maybe they can come back? Maybe they can take 1 or 2 games here? Does Renegades look like a team that might slip up?
I mean, they just kind of got stomped in that last match there. I mean, maybe after the first one, I would call it, because it was a lot closer. I mean, it went to overtime. But I think this is Renegades finally switched on and getting that ball rolling, getting the engine revving as they're starting to gear up, hoping to the other matches go their way to make it to playoffs. But I just want to touch on Siki. I think he's stepped up a lot this week. In past weeks, he was a player that I kind of faulted for not stepping up to the same caliber as he was last season. I mean, he was our MVP, he was in the winning team, and he was also top goal scorer. And this season just it hasn't worked for him, and it's good to see him finally maybe get back into that form. A lot of the shots may be easy, but just that confidence boost of something like this is how you get back to that level of form.
Yeah, let's see if they can do it even harder. Let's see if they can get a score bigger than 5-0 here in the last game. Renegades want to absolutely destroy Overt here in the final game. We're up against Zen again, and that's a very quick goal for Zen.
Yeah, I mean, you were trying to talk about how Renegades try to beat their record of the last game, and Overt just shut you up straight away with 11 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, it's already over. It's already done and dusted. They can't beat their record, but they can still crush this game. Going into it again here, Overt hoping for that reverse sweep, but this is also close to their net. And Siki, I mean, he's never going to miss that one.
Oh, back-to-back kickoff goals in game number 3. I thought Overt, okay, they've got the ball rolling, they've got the advantage here, they can kind of build on that, but straight away Renegades shut that down. 6 seconds is all it took to even it up again.
Special rules here for game 3. It's like every other game, but you lose 17 seconds of it because we're back to square one here. Just the clock has run down a little bit. Renegades net though didn't look so good for them about 20 seconds ago, but Overt taking the shots. It is now being blocked out by the Renegades and pushed ever so slightly back up the field, so they are keeping this one out, and it looks like they've shut it all down.
Yeah, Overt looking a little better there. A few passes inward in field that are reaching the mark and reaching the player they're intended for. It's good to see. They're not really getting intercepted like they were last match. That one shutting me up pretty quickly, but I like their chances in the attack, but they just need to get it out of their hat first.
Yeah, they've managed to do it a few times, but Renegades are looking to keep Overt here for a while as they are starting to take up a few of their shots. Looks like it's going to be a rush for that one, but Overt do grab the ball. It's pushed forward again, up through the air. Kami for CJ, and it just falls on down into his hands and into the net.
Yeah, nice little waterfall there. Kami just forces it to that apex of the corner there, and CJ first up, first serve, gets to it, puts it in. That's a 2-1 lead to Renegades, keeping their playoff hopes alive.
And you're back to normal. You're back to where you're feeling like you should be as Renegades. The pressure's, it's not gone, but it's certainly lessened a whole lot. Overt, for sure. I mean, I'm not sure how much pressure they'll be feeling throughout this whole series, being already out of playoffs. But I'm sure they wanted to get at least one game against the Renegades here. Maybe play spoiler a little bit. And now, to do that, they're going to have to start their journey by getting it out of the half, which they have for now. But with that smack by CJ, oh no, you can't miss that one, Tim.
Well, one thing to note, if Overt lose this game and Canberra Havoc do take down Cringe Society in the next match, then Overt will be dead last and get a little less cash for themselves. So, I mean, they're still playing for something.
Yeah, of course. And so, oh no, that's a great kickoff, a good demo. It's saved by Misty, but CJ is certainly going to be rushing for this one, along with his team. Can't be backing him up, but no one else to really secure that one to get the last final shot. And it's going to be a long one there, but that's clearly going to be saved here out by Overt. Still, shot after shot coming out from the Renegades, and eventually, Overt are going to run out of juice. They're not going to have enough boost to keep going for these saves.
Overt got a bit of an attack here, but that demo there probably stopping them in their tracks. You see Kami takes it up midfield, but Noisy intercepts. Noisy again on the side here. Can he pass it off? But a little awkward pass to Misty kind of ruins all the momentum in that play there. Siki takes this on the wall, tries to find CJ in the middle, does so, but CJ's shot is blocked instantly by Noisy, and Zen will collect and try and clear, but again, just kept in their hat.
Yeah, the difference is as Siki scores the 4th goal here for the Renegades. The difference is when Renegades get it up against your net, they're not leaving for a while. The opposite is not true for Overt. When Overt get it up against the Renegades net, they take a few shots and then they're gone. It's like trick-or-treaters. But Renegades are here to stay. They're doing a full 4-week quarantine lockdown at your house.
Trick-or-treaters in April, huh? I liked that play there, though. You saw kind of CJ pass it off and then instantly went for that bump on Misty. I believe he did get it because it looked either Misty made an awful attempt at a clearance or he got bumped, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. As Renegades just carrying on the pressure here, trying to put more on the scoreboard as it goes the other way, but they should get the clearance here and send it back.
It feels like the passes are coming out from Renegades even quicker and faster than before. Their saves are still great, their intercepts are still great, but these passes are really starting to turn up. Overt onto the attack again. Can they find a way to send it in? It just feels like it's either intercepted or it's just too much of an awkward angle for them to get this shot. And with that, it looks like the trick-or-treaters have to go home as Renegades get it back over to Overt's half.
It's not close to Halloween, I don't know, we carry on.
It doesn't have to be October to know what a trick-or-treater is, okay?
Alright. Well, carrying on in the game, it's looking like Renegades are going to seal this one up, make it a 5-1 with that goal there. Kami flying through and dunking it on down.
Yeah, and now you got to imagine this is the 3-0 for Renegades. Now that they're 5-1, Overt's hopes of coming back with only a minute to go. I mean, this is like game 2. It's 4 goals in about a minute. I mean, it's not likely to happen when they've got 1 goal over the last, like, 3 games. It's been ridiculous.
Yeah, I think this is the 3-0. I don't think anyone would be crazy enough to say that Overt were going to come back in this one. That 1 goal was a bit of feel good, but it was straight off the bat, straight off the kickoff, and since then Renegades have just carried on their steamrolling.
And now, I mean, we've also got to start talking about the members of the Renegades that have shown up today, because, I mean, we talked about Siki a little bit as he's maybe about to get another goal to his name, but not quite, it's kept out. But Siki, yeah, he stepped up a fair amount. But I've got to say, Kami and CJ as well, pretty good peak levels of the Renegades team performance there as well.
Yeah, definitely. When they play well, they play as a team. It's not just one player kind of carrying, and that's the play style they play. So, I mean, we can point out Siki's kind of stepped up to the same level as we've seen CJ and Kami in past weeks, but yeah, it's just good to see him get back to that form that we saw him in last season.
So 7 seconds to go. Overt's final moments here in the LPL Pro ANZ Rocket League Championship. Siki scoring the final goal here. Does not want Overt to have any feel-good moments at the end here. Renegades gonna go ahead and do the best they can for their playoff hopes, because now fate is no longer in their hands and they just have to sit back and watch.
Yeah, and Misty's nameplate ending up being true, saying that he will lose to Renegades 3-0. That's what's going to happen. Can we find the Brazil scoreline? They'd love to see it, but with that going the other way, I believe we're going to hit the ground and say the Renegades 3-0'd Over, keeping their playoff hopes alive for now, depending on how these other games go.
And now with that, they need Cringe Society to lose, or there is another scenario where Team Esper defeat Fury 3-2. I think there's a few more specifics on that I want to double check, but regardless though, they're going to be watching the next match, which is Cringe Society versus Canberra Havoc. They're going to be watching that, hoping Cringe lose. After that though, the last series is going to be the hottest one for sure. But let's take our final thoughts on the match we saw. MVP Watson, who's coming up for you?
It's got to be Siki. I mean, he put in so many shots time and time again. I mean, he probably had more shots than more goals, than he's had all season. So for me, it's got to be him. He stepped up this week. He's back to that form that we saw him in at the end of last season. It's good to see, because I love when players are playing their best, and all the teams are. So for Renegades to kind of bring back that form, it's always good to see.
And there it is. Siki going to be the MVP, bringing Renegades up to their peak power here. And what better time to do it the week before we head into playoffs. But guys, League Play still has 2 more matches to go, and these matches still mean everything for pretty much every team still fighting for the playoffs. The next match, Cringe Society versus Canberra Havoc. Guys, you're going to want to stick around for this one, so we'll see you there. Welcome back, everyone, to the final week of League Play here for the LPL Pro Rocket League Oceanic Championship. We have got 2 matches to go. The next one coming up is Canberra Havoc versus Cringe Society. And so there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this one, not just from us, not just from you guys, but from the Renegades, who are relying on this match. Well, maybe not entirely, but they would very much like it if Cringe Society would lose.
Yeah, if they lose, then that means Renegades is in, right? Have I done the math right? Please tell me.
Yes. So that is the math. If Canberra Havoc lose the series, no matter how, then Renegades are in, and Havoc are still potentially in, depending on how the match later on goes. Actually, no, with Renegades winning, Cringe Society will be out if they lose. But let's do the math later. Let's take a look at the rosters here. Starting off with the Canberra Havoc. These guys sitting at the bottom of the table. They've had some crazy upsets sometimes, but Walcott, Leduc, Tango, let's talk about these guys. I mean, over the last 6 weeks, how have they impressed you? Considering this was a second place team last year.
Not a lot, to be honest. I mean, I rated them highly last season, and they saw the upset wins against Renegades and Chiefs to make it to second place, but this season just kind of fell flat for me. losing Spidoge has been a big factor in that, and now up against him in their final match of league play, possibly keeping Spidoge out of playoffs if they win this one. So big storyline here, kind of the same as last game.
Yeah, and it would be in Canberra Havoc style to deny someone playoffs, but here we are, their opponents, Cringe Society, Torsos, Spidoge, and Drabe, the Oceanic super team. These guys had high expectations for them, but coming into it, they were still a new team. So the question is, how well have they done for a new team, and did they live up to people's high expectations?
I think in the first few weeks they looked amazing. I mean, I put them as #1 seed before the season started. I kind of expected them to just click and to just work. All of them great players in their own right, but in the the mid of the season is where they kind of fell a bit flat, and now potentially fighting for their playoff hopes here. Could be out, could be in, we don't know. We'll find out at the end of the series. But yeah, for me, it comes down to this head-to-head here, LeDuc versus Spidoge. Past teammates trying to keep each other up.
Yeah, you see these two names together, and last year you would have thought you'd never see them apart, but here they are on opposite sides. Of course, Cringe Society having some better games under their belt, more wins, so their stats are naturally going to look a little higher, as well as Havoc having higher saves. But I mean, looking at these numbers, it doesn't look all that bad for LeDuc.
Yeah, it almost makes you feel like Canberra Havoc are fighting for a playoff chance, and I think it's just come down to the saves there. That's because they're always on the back foot, so Cringe Society kind of being more aggressive, being more attacking. A lot of their plays comes from the midfield, and that's often where Spidoge is, so those stats not really up there compared to LeDuc, who plays kind of a counter-attacking style.
Yeah, I mean, LeDuc is actually currently 3rd in contention for the Savior of the Season, and 1st place is actually his teammate Tango. So these guys, yeah, they've been on the losing end of a lot of series, so they get a lot of chance to save a lot of these goals, but save them they have. We have to give them that credit. Canberra Havoc, they might have a lot of goals shot against them, but man, do they save a lot.
Yeah, I mean, last season they were, I think, 0.01 off of locking that in, so maybe try to lock it in this season. I'm just trying to get the stat up. Yeah, it was 0.01. Walcott was that close to locking in that one, so maybe Tango or LeDuc can lock it in this season for their team. It'll be interesting to see, but I mean, they're going to be up against it. They're going to have the chance to save it because I think Cringe Society are the favourites in this one.
Yeah, Cringe Society going to be some pretty massive favorites, but the question is, of course, it's not like Renegades where we're talking about scenarios where if they drop 1 or 2 games, then it's a lot more messy. This is just clean. Like, Cringe Society just have to win the series. The question is there any world where they don't? I mean, do Canberra Havoc actually upset this one?
I mean, they could do. They've taken a few teams to Game 5 at least, and it was just kind of that final push that they needed to do it. And I think when it comes to the end of this season and it's their last game, they might as well just go all out and try and upset this team and upset their former teammate in Spidoge.
Well, they're going to have to do it by getting out of their side first, because Cringe Society have them up against the net, and it pays off as in the end, Drabe will eventually get that goal-scoring shot. Strike?
Yeah, either. Yeah, it was just a good little pass there from Spidoge. Drabe takes him halfway and puts it in a place that makes it difficult for Walcott. He tried to get to it, but didn't. And what is this? Tango in a new car, not in the Merc anymore. It's fine. You listen to it. It's switched to the Paladin. Hardly any better, but we'll see how he does.
Oh, Tango, man. I thought you'd be Merc main for life, but you know what? I guess everyone has their limits. Everyone has their lines they won't cross. And in the final week of league play, maybe that's Tango's one where certainly is it's going to matter a lot for his morale. But now finally Canberra haven't pushed it up against Cringe. They're going to have to get a shot here, and looks like Tango was coming in, but with this clear, he's not going to find any strikes at the goal. Gets it by him, but we're back here against the Canberra Havoc. Now Cringe have pushed up.
I'm interested to see how Tango does in this game, not only on a different car, but last week he was one of the standout players from Canberra Havoc. He stepped up a lot in their match and took it to Game 5, I believe. I'll double check it, but I think that if he's playing well, then the rest of the team really unlocks and they start to look like that second place team again.
Yeah, now, again, it comes back to them proving it here. Now they pushed it up again, and it's not like Cringe have only got 1 goal so far throughout all of this, but it's time for Havoc to find their one if they want to be competitive in this series. But Cringe are having none of it as they push it up towards their net. That's Torsos trying to get it by LeDuc, but doesn't find it. Now it's all the way back over to Drippe if he can get it by Tango. He's going to have to go in the air for this, and no, it looks like Control handed over to Havoc.
Yeah, Cringe Society still with that 1-goal lead, looking like they're commanding the pace of the game too, and a whiff there by Tango in front of net, but Drippe not fast enough to pounce on it. Instead, Spidoge will clean up that clearance, and that's 2-0.
And one whiff just slows everyone down so much. They're all kind of out of position. Drippe pushes LeDuc off to the side, which I think is the big one, because Tango doesn't expect to need to get this so quickly. And so with that, Cringe 2 goals up now, looking very strong. Canberra Havoc have to do a lot to bring it back, and they're back up against in there again unless LeDuc gets a monster clear.
Yeah, not only that bump from Drippe, but also the 50-50 win on Walcott to kind of send that up in the air in front of net and give the opportunity to Spido to put that in, but it goes the other way, and Tango's shot hits the bar. 100% should have put that one in and made it 2-1, but instead they're still behind by 2. 2-2-2 on the clock as well, lots of 2s, and Cringe Society will look to clear this, but a double commit whiff in the corner doesn't end up getting punished.
Yeah, and Cringe is being relentless right now. They're just not letting Havoc have any control of the ball. They're never allowed to run it in net, but off the corner, off of Walcott, it stays out for now.
Oh, and a nice little pass for Tango there, but the duck shot gets blocked before it even becomes a decent shot. Spidoge's clearance goes back to Torsos. Good little pass back in a dangerous position, but it works. Tango trying to clean this one up. Instead, just booms it at the goal. Drippe now has to do a lot, but kind of loses out the 50-50. A good pass there to Walcott, and it works. Canberra Havoc are crawling back in this one, Smite.
And you've got to imagine, how did this one go in? So as we take another look, Walcott just sort of lets it roll on in. Torsos had to struggle to get there in time, so couldn't really adjust himself. But yeah, Havoc maybe coming back. They've got a minute 40 to find at least another goal. And I've got to say, though, I'm not sure if they can find it because it's taken them so long to get that 1 goal. Cringe have been just relentless on their attack so far. So you expect to see Havoc against the net even more.
Yeah, I think if Havoc can keep it up, though, and just find that one opportunity, it's all it takes. When they are on the attack, they do look dangerous. It's those passes, like, in field that are doing it for me. I mean, they're looking good, and just another one of those is all it's going to take to even up this game.
So, can they get it done? Spido's being demoed might actually give them the breathing room to do it, but he's already back. With that, it's going to be very hard. Tango is going to be looping around. He really needs to find his angle to shoot, but he has to get back to defend now. Spidoge has pushed it up, but Tango catches it. Torsos won't take it away from him, but Drippe will be the one to clean it up and push it forward even more. We're still here in Havoc's net, but LeDuc, he's got it out. Tango sitting up there in front of the net, pushing the goalie around, but LeDuc can't get it done. He can't shoot it in. And now with that, it's all up to Walcott. 37 seconds to go, so his team has time, but no one there to continue that push. It slows down now for Havoc.
I like that demo play coming out from Canberra Havoc there. Tango just leaving the ball behind and goes for it, and there it is, a nice little pass down, and Walcott evens it up with 25 seconds on the clock tonight. We got a game.
Are you kidding me? In the final moment, so it's set up for him by Tango. Walcott gets it in. It puts his life on the line for it too. And so 25 seconds to go. I mean, if you're Havoc, you're probably just looking at making sure Cringe don't get a goal here. Let it go to overtime. See if you can find it in. Cringe, though, I imagine they're going to look for a goal here in the final seconds.
Yeah, they're not going to stop. They're relentless in their attack, but nothing really working as Canberra Havoc just pushing them around. And these last few minutes have been all Canberra Havoc for me, and I haven't seen much come out from Cringe Society, but 6 seconds left, 3 players up the field, 3 players back. The Duck wins it in the corner, though. Gonna try and find this to kill it. Does so, and there it is, overtime in game number 1. Let's see who gets the better of this.
Oh man, this is not what we expected, but if you're the Renegades, you're loving this as it goes to overtime. Canberra Havoc just need to find that 1 goal. Cringe already up against their net though. One mistake, you can just let it go by and let you drop game at number 1. Cringe have pushed forward again. Havoc have looked strong in the final few minutes, but they have to look strong for at least a few more. They want to find this one in overtime.
Cringe Society very strong in this midfield game, always winning it out there, but a lot of the time Canberra Havoc are just pumping it past that midfield and catching them off the rotations, collecting it in the corner, and then putting them on the back foot. And I think that's where all this pressure is coming from. You see, something like this, they collect it in the corner, exactly as I said, and they just carry it on until some mistake is forced and they can try and find a real opportunity to shoot at net.
Yeah, Havoc are getting some real good opportunities right now. This one might even be the one as it's in the corner. LeDuc, it gets saved. Spidoge keeps it out from his former teammate. Now he pushes it up. He's looking for his overtime goal. Gets up above the net. It bounces almost, but Walcott clears it away. Does not want it anywhere near this net. 1 minute into overtime.
All players from Canberra Havoc rushing back for this one. Walcott turns around, gets it before Cringe does, and sends it to the corner, but this time they boom it back, and now Spidoge on the side tries to pass it in the field, but pass is blocked, and Canberra Havoc pounce on it. Just another midfield battle, but Walcott in the corner tries to get a pass trip, but he does not. Tango helps out, wins the 50-50, now it's time to find the pass. Can he find it? Torsos is up with him, gets it down on top of him, the duck shot is blocked by his former teammate. It looks like all the pressure's
pass, but it wasn't enough. And now with that, Cringe get their chance. They push it up all the way. Spidoge has to go for it, but Walcott was there first. He gets it by Spidoge. Tango passes it over to him. No position to redirect it though. With that, they don't take a shot. Have to turn around. LeDuc misses that one too. Tango has to keep this one in. Keeps it in the corner. Spidoge sends it over to the midfield. Torsos takes a shot, but it's too high. It's all up to Drippy's shot. But two defenders keep it out now. Havoc stay alive in overtime even longer.
It's looking like Canberra Havoc is starting to panic. The shot on is good. Tango can't find it. Cringe Society take the first game. They were just on the back foot for the last minute or so, kind of panicking with their clearances. A double commit too. Just a flick over beats both of them, and then a nice little shot from Spidoge to seal up that game. Game one goes to Cringe, and Renegades start sweating.
Yeah, but now you've got to worry as well a little bit for Cringe Society. It took them something like 4 minutes to get that overtime goal, if you include the time in the actual game. Havoc looked brilliant, not just in the final minutes of the actual game, but even during overtime. For, I'd say the majority of it is just securing those goals in the end. But the main thing we got to say here is that it's looking a hell of a lot closer than it really should be. I mean, we're sitting here saying, yeah, Cringe, probably 3-0. I mean, if not 3-0, they should just win the series. But Havoc are showing a world where maybe that doesn't happen, especially if the next game goes like that. Because last series, we had a close game one. Didn't quite work out that way in the series. But I think game two is going to be a real big test for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think Canberra Havoc, when they're not panicking and they're calm and collected, they look really good. But as soon as one player starts panicking, the rest of them kind of follow suit. And that's what we saw in that overtime, the final minute, was just them panicking, not clearing it with a calm head, and instead just putting it straight back to Cringe Society's hands. And yeah, and in the end, it resulted in a double commit, a mistake coming out from both players, and then they concede, obviously, and lose the first game. But in a world where they don't panic, it could have gone the other way.
Yeah, and I want to talk corner game as well, because Canberra Havoc, that's one thing they did like really well to me. Every time Cringe cleared it over to their corner, I mean, they were always there. Canberra Havoc could catch it, and they kept it out of Cringe's hands. Let's see if they do it here again in game number 2, and if they can keep it just as close as game number 1.
Yeah, good little kickoff from Cringe, though, buys them a bit of pressure early into this game, and a whiff there in front of net. Drippy tries to find a shot and does. Early mistake from Cringe Society, not what you want to see after that overtime.
Yeah, I mean, Drippy just gets it done on his own. I mean, just messes around with the defenders a whole lot, goes for the ball, gets it in. Just a nice early goal for Cringe Society, kind of like what we saw in game number 1. And so with that, they're feeling fantastic, especially if they want to make this a quick 3-0. Spidoge through the air. That's all he needs. Some air and a bit of power.
Man, that was too quick to really comprehend. They're already 2 goals up. Spidoge just gets the flip reset and does him dirty on Tango there. Just sells him a dream. 2-0 lead to Cringe Society, but we saw this in the first game. Canberra Havoc fought back.
Yeah, and so they've got some time to fight back, that is for sure. But Cringe Society, they're just going to let that one in.
I think Torsos just own goal. Did anyone else see that? Knocks it up into the corner, knocks it down, and Torsos puts it in for Tango. Oh, yikes.
Torsos, secret Renegades member till the end.
Yeah, possibly. Learning
So-
from Suki's mistakes at Worlds last year.
Oh man, leave the Renegades alone, man. I was just pulling a leg, but you know, you don't have to do them like that. But it is still 1 goal lead. Havoc are still behind after a great start by Cringe Society, who are still pushing up against their net. Tango looking to keep it out of their half, but I mean, this is looking a lot like game number 1, where we saw Havoc in their side very often, very hard for them to get it out of their field, at least until the second half of the game.
Yeah, but only a minute off the clock now, and Canberra Havoc panicking a little bit, but manages to clear it. LeDuc will carry this up. Beats the defender on the wall there. Probably should have got the clearance, and Walcott calls it, goes for it. And now we're evened up with only a minute 10 off the clock.
Yeah, and oh wow, I mean, he went up before it even got bumped. I feel like he saw this happening, maybe even going for a steal, but regardless, the result is the same. It's Canberra Havoc evening it up. 2 goals in very quick succession. This one rolling to the net, but it is kept out by Trippe. Tango is going to also take another shot. A shot after shot here by Canberra Havoc, but Cringe Society holds strong, and now it's their turn.
Yeah, this is looking like it's going to be a high-scoring game if it carries on the way it has been. And back to end-to-end stuff for sure as Cringe Society are trying to clear it, but Tango says no, keeps it in this corner. He said before that Canberra Havoc's corner game's been strong, and they're carrying that trend on.
Yeah, now they push it forward towards the net. LeDuc angles it, redirects it, and gets the 3rd goal for the first time. Canberra Havoc taking the lead.
This is dirty. A nice little pass from Tango there. Catches Cringe on the back foot. They're in the lead for the first time.
Tango, that pass was beautiful. I mean, just right off the tail and just so perfectly set up. It looked like it was planned from the get-go, and there we go. That's the lead for Canberra Havoc. You can imagine Cringe are a team that can very quickly even things up if you let them. And so we've got to keep an eye on them for sure, but Havoc stepping up the game. They even get it by all the defenders here. Cringe Society going up, grabbing this ball. Trippe wants to get a good clear here. They have to be careful on their clears because Canberra Havoc have been punishing bad clears. They might be doing it again. Here against the net, Walcott just wants to center it a little bit because LeDuc is certainly in position. Torsos gets it to the corner, makes it impossible to shoot in. Now we're back over to Cringe Society's net. Are they going to find a way to shoot it in? The defenders are all over the place here. It's going in! Tango!
Oh no! This is bad defending from Spidoch here. Puts it exactly where Tango is expecting it. Could have just knocked it to the ground, maybe even the corner and stopped that shot, but instead puts it on a plate for him and Tango just chips him.
And a 4-2 lead now for Canberra Havoc. And now we ask, can Cringe come back? And the answer is, I mean, yeah, because they got 2 goals in like 10 seconds at the start of the game. But the question is, are Havoc now stepping up to the level where Cringe just can't do that anymore?
But a big fake in front of net there, and Trippe will clean it up. There it is. You said they can get the goals quickly, and if this one's coming in only 20 seconds, then I'm sure another one will be following suit soon, unless Canberra Havoc carry on the trend that they had in the last few minutes.
Yeah, just a bit of an awkward clear there, unfortunately. Kind of bounced off Tango's head there, but Cringe, they make it a lot more doable here. Only 1 goal down now, but Havoc have been quick on their own goals too, and so with that, you can never be too careful. So good clear away from all the members of Cringe Society. Means Walcott can go in, scoop it up, set it up for his team. LeDuc off the top of the goal, but doesn't get it in. Now with that, Cringe are going to be heading forwards, but Tango's actually stolen it away, up in midair, and so he's bought so much time for his team. LeDuc takes a shot, but will not go in. Walcott is still here, he takes a shot too. But with that, I think the Canberra Havoc finished up, and now Cringe are going to go for their move. No,
oh, you're kidding me. Canberra Havoc should have scored that. So many chances that should have been in, but their shots just not good enough. There was a great save from Trippe amongst that commotion, but definitely should have been a 5-3 lead to Canberra Havoc trying to seal this game, but instead it's still just that 1 goal lead. So close to evening this up, Cringe, and sending this one into overtime as well.
Yeah, and it's still 1:20 to go, so there's still a lot of time for either team to make something happen here, whether that's Havoc just taking a lead or Cringe Society scoring right then and there, but they didn't manage to get it. They just want to even it up, and then maybe to even take the lead here. But now this is the dangerous spot here. Cringe Society just can't let another goal in here. It could be devastating but now they might find an opportunity of their own. But the corner game, they need 2 members to take it out of Canberra Havoc's hands. They keep it forward. 3 members of Cringe up. They're looking to take a shot, but with that, it could be Canberra Havoc rushing back. They're over up against Cringe's net now, but they have managed to keep it out by the time they need.
Oh, a nice little waterfall down there from Drippe, and Torsos cleans it up. I was not expecting that to fall like that, but I think Torsos was.
Yeah, I mean, it was all set up from the beginning there. You saw in the replay, like, Torsos already set it up, and then came back in and rotated in to be the 3rd man in that chain of being the 1st man in it. But it is evened up now, and this is the big moment for Cringe. I mean, sure, overtime would be okay. They won the first one. Getting a 5th goal here, just skipping it entirely would be fantastic, and they're close to doing it. But that said, Canberra Havoc, absolutely a team who can score in these final seconds. So close, almost pushes Torsos back in with it, but Walcott is there too, and now they're 1 goal ahead again.
Cringe Society so close to sending this to overtime, but just a little falter on the goal line there, and Spido barely misses that clearance, and Walcott puts it around him to make it 5-4. Just have to hold on for 23 seconds to try and take game number 2 here. Because I believe if this goes to overtime, my number's on Cringe Society for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to make it there. 15 seconds. It's got to be in the hands of Cringe Society. A dead Spidoge means he's not going to be able to keep it in the air. 7 seconds to go. They're going to try and find it. No, it's not going to go in just yet. 2 seconds to go. Tango pushing Spidoge up the wall. Torsos has to keep it in the air here. They've managed to do it for some time, but it's not enough as Canberra Havoc even up the series here against Cringe Society.
What a high-scoring game. Both teams just kind of forgetting that they're going for that savior of the season accolade instead. Trying to take down Jules and Decker at the top of that the Golden Striker accolade. What a banger of a game that was, and still only 1 goal in it, even after all those goals. So, yeah, these teams looking quite an even match, which is so surprising to say this far into the season.
Yeah, it was a real roller coaster during the game for sure. I mean, at points we thought, oh, cool. Cringe Society, 2 goals in 10 seconds. Sweet. They're probably going to 3-0 this. Then Canberra Havoc come back. Then Cringe take the lead. It just goes back and forth. I mean, I can't imagine what the next game is going to be like, but it really shows the surprise coming out from today's match, right? No one expected Canberra Havoc to do crazily well against Cringe Society so far. They've kept both games very close, so it doesn't look like they won one by a fluke or anything. They're keeping it up, and it feels like they could contend to make Cringe lose here, and Renegades will be cheering at home if that did happen, but they still have a way to go. We're still just stuck in a best of 3 here.
Yeah, I think for me, Canberra Havoc in the past few weeks have looked good. Even in losses, it's been quite close in the individual matches. I mean, they did get 3-0'd by Esper, but a lot of those just 1 goal in it. And then even against Mindfreak, they were still playing well. And I think this is the final form of Canberra Havoc. Finally, at the end of the season, possibly getting an upset over Cringe Society and at least evened it up and taking us to game 3 with a 1-1 scoreline. We'll have to see if they can carry it on, but Spidoge instead turns around and slots that one in again. It's Cringe Society starting strong.
Yeah, these guys have got to stop scoring before we finish what we're saying at the start of the match because it's so quick. It's so quick. 10 seconds and only 1 goal for now for Cringe Society, but I mean, I'm sure they'll take that for sure. Canberra Havoc, it's very traditional for them to not look so hot in the first minute, at least in the series, and it may be happening again. 2 goals, I mean, it's 16 seconds. I think it was actually 17 seconds in the first game, so they did it a second quicker this time.
This is insane. If Canberra Havoc now bring it back and even it up, I'm going to think that someone's writing a script because this is too good to be true. The Cringe Society taking another 2-goal early lead, but we saw in the past couple of games that is not enough. They're going to have to score more if they want to keep Canberra Havoc up.
Yeah, but I mean, at some point you've got to ask, like, just don't let it happen. I mean, because of course Canberra Havoc, it's been close when they've won, and it was even close when they lost. This could have been, a 2-0 right now, and stomping games for Canberra Havoc if they didn't let it slip in the first, literally 15 seconds of the game.
Spido's just bullying his way through here, puts it in front of the goal, but no one really backing him up there. Probably should have. Dripe's shot hits the post. Torsos tries to follow it up. No gas in the tank, can't get around it. And now pressure will be going the other way, but Dripe cleans it up in the midfield, keeps it in Canberra Havoc's half. In the air now, okay, what can he do? Tries to beat Tango, doesn't do it, goes to the bump on Walkoff, and the Ducks booming clearance will say no to that.
Yeah, and it looks like Havoc are starting to shut down Cringe's attacks, slowly but surely, just like they did in game 1 and 2. And so we're back here to their half, but expect them to get it out of here in a decent amount of time, although Spidoge is going to make it very hard. Bit clear, though, gets it back into Cringe's half, but, I mean, not for very long. Both teams are just sort of sending it back and forth. Leduc certainly wants to fight for it. Tango is going to get it up in the air here. And it's actually going to go towards the net! Over Spidoge's head!
And there it is, the first goal of the comeback. I mean, we'll see another one coming soon, I'm sure, if anything like the last 2 matches. But a nice little replay there coming out from Tango to just kind of snatch it in the midfield. But Cringe weren't really expecting them. A lot of the times they're just in their own half or fighting for it in the corner and leaving the midfield game to Cringe, but catching them against the run of play.
Yeah, Tango shows that he can get it done from midfield, just like the best of them. And so with that, like you said, they get their first goal on their comeback here. Back over to their half, though. Havoc have to keep this one out again. And they have to keep possession while doing it. Their corner game's been great. Walcott holds on to it here. This could be great for them, especially if they can hold on to it. But it's actually just back to Cringe, who given almost an easy goal there. But Leduc is a legend, he keeps it out, but he can't be a legend forever. And so it goes back to the corner, but Cringe is still nearby.
Yeah, Spido's just keeping it there, bullying the Canberra Havoc ex-teammates and Leduc and Walcott, but no one from his team really backing it up with true threat. So it goes back the other way, but now a quick turnaround, a counter-attack, and a pinch will send it back the other way. This is just end-to-end at the moment.
Yeah, Walcott going to steal it away, though, and it does pinch over to the other side of the field. And now it's anyone's ball, but Cringe pick it up, pushing it forward again, and now it's their turn again to strike it in. And can Leduc continue to be a legend and goalie here? He's going to be able to get a good clear, and actually be able to go catch it with Tango as well. Walcott moving up too, looking to send it in from halfway. Leduc takes a shot at the net, but it's clear to midfield, and a lot of members of Cringe are there. Walcott pushing it up, but right now, who's going to get it and who's going to control it? Walcott actually close to the corner if he can pass it to Tango, but doesn't manage to do it. I think Cringe are going to get this one out.
Yeah, Leduc facing the wrong way there. Wasn't expecting the ball to kind of land at his feet as Dripe kind of mishit it, but Canberra Havoc cleaning up pretty quickly and sending it back, trying to keep this pressure on. They had a good run of play for the past minute. Fake from Tango, can't get it past the second though, and Walcott will chase this on the wall. Does have the flip, does he decide to use it? Just at the end does to win a 50-50, but it kind of goes to the side, so no real win there.
Tango going to fight Torsos for this one, but can't get the altitude to stay high enough, and so with that, Cringe get a pretty good ball here, but it is still taken away from them. Leduc, a lot of control, but Dripe takes it away. So everyone's still fighting for it here in Havoc's half, and Dripe takes the final shot here, but is there going to be anything to follow it up? It looks like no for now, as the 1 minute warning does go out. Torsos here in the wings, waiting to take a shot. He misses it, but it does go over his teammate. But Walcott has to find this one in. He wants to find it, but Dripe's back in time. Didn't have the angle. And now they can still go for it. They can still find the shot, but with that big clear, it may just be back in Havoc's net.
Walcott just didn't have the boost to catch that one on the counter attack, but oh so close to tying up game number 3 here. It's still only 1 goal in it. Remember the Cringe Society scored those goals within 20 seconds and haven't scored since. So this is Canberra Havoc's game to lose for sure.
But I mean, they're still 1 goal down. They still have that duty of finding 1 more goal in 12 seconds. And that's an impossible task, especially right up against your net. They've got to find a way to control the ball. That's a good shot here. This could be it for them. Havoc taking shots, but everyone from Cringe Society is in the way, and the ground does its job, catches the ball. Cringe Society picking up game number 3 here, but Havoc are making it look way closer than the series has any right to be.
How is this game the one that's so close?
Just
I would have
look at the points.
expected Yeah, this is insane. I mean, oh man, back to back. The second game had all the goals. This one, I mean, 2 of them were scored within 20 seconds, and then only 1 in the remainder of the time. So, man, I'm expecting this game number 4 to be just as close. Maybe even see the overtime again. Maybe Canberra Havoc taking us to game 5. I would love to see it.
You know what I'm expecting? I'm expecting 2 goals from Cringe Society within 15 seconds this time.
That's probably
they've been insane at the start, and it's also been what has won them the last, the last 2 wins they've got, and they almost picked up the second game too. So, I mean, are they just going to do it again? The question is, what do they look like when they can't? In all 3 games we've seen so far, the answer is they lose. And so now you just say, Canberra Havoc, can you just sort out your first 2 kickoffs? I mean, it sounds a bit, it sounds harsh to say, but I mean, that is literally it. It's just make sure these kickoffs go without a hitch, do whatever you need to do, play conservatively, don't do anything risky, and suddenly you actually get to start the game 0-0.
Yeah, if you think about it, all 3 of those games, if they had just been good off the bat and not let those early goals in from the kickoff, this series would be over 3-0 to Canberra Havoc, and we'd be done and dusted, moving on to the final game. But instead, it's been so close just because they put themselves at a disadvantage to begin with.
All right, Watson, let's get back in here. Cringe Society on match point. They're very close to locking in their slot for the playoffs. They lose the series, fate is out of their hands, so they can still make it, but they are very, very close. And you've got to say, for Canberra Havoc, it's already looking a whole lot better for them as they go past that 15-second mark, and there are no goals scored against them.
Yeah, they've tightened it up. They've done what they needed to do. Now they just need to carry on, maybe get that 1 goal like they did last game, and just sit on that and hope that that's enough.
Although we're seeing a similar story. Yeah, a similar story where Cringe just still early on keep it up in their half very often. Tango has to fight for this one, gets it to the side. It's pretty easy for him to push it over. And we're seeing a lot more defense and defensive aggression, which sounds weird, but Havoc fighting for the ball when it's in their half. Just like that, intercepting passes, Walcott keeping it out. They're going to have to do it 1 more time to keep it out of the net, and they do just that.
Yeah, and then forcing a save out from Spidoge there as it goes the other way. These booming clearances, almost enough to net them a lead, but Spidoge on his toes, managing to get it. Drippé's shot blocked by Tango. Walcott will clear. It goes to the midfield as Leduc's there, looking for the double touch. Can he find it? He does get the touch, but it hits the post, and no one there to follow up. Could have been the lead to Havoc, but instead we go the other way.
Oh, that's so painful for Leduc, but he just has to let it go and try to do it again. A good clear from Tango, and Leduc might even be able to take this one away. Now it's set up for Havoc to start taking their shots, but who's in position? Walcott went up to steal it, but Tango has to keep this one out. Just takes it away from Drippé, doesn't let him get it. Tango goes for the 50-50 as well. Now Torsos in front of the net, but Leduc just bops it over his head.
And Leduc will clear this too, but it lands for Spidoge. Tries to get the double touch. Can he find it? He does. Shows his ex-teammate how it's done. Puts Cringe Society in the lead to try and seal this up before Game 5. But we've seen how dangerous those leads have been.
Yeah, a lot easier to get the double touch goal when you're dead center in the net, but again, he does position himself. He does. There's a Cringe Society 1 goal up now, and oh, that's a good kickoff for Walcott if you can keep it. And he does. He runs up the wall, but it's actually more contentious than I thought as Drippé pushes it up all the way towards the Havoc net. And now with that, Cringe are in position to take a little shot at the net again, but no one else was there, and so they don't manage to take it after all.
Drippé just waiting in net for Leduc's pass there. Cleans it up. Tango coming back with the drift, manages to clean this one up. Leduc coming from the side to try and pass this down. Can he find his teammates? Drippé steals it. Now he needs to do the same to the other side, looking for Torsos. Does find it, but Torsos wasn't expecting it as he thought the clearance was going to come through. And instead gives up a good opportunity to make it 2-1.
And now Tango, a good waterfall, bounces it in front of the net so slowly, but Walcott does the final motions on it and gets it in to even things up.
I thought Walcott was going to miss this, but just calms himself, doesn't take the early shot, instead waits to see where he commits himself and places it where he cannot hit it. 1-1 in game number 4. Canberra Havoc just need to find another one to send us to game 5.
Oh, and they could have found it there, but Spidoge was back there in time. So We are just going to be cleared over to the corners. Eventually, see who gets a hold of the ball here. They're going to fight Spinosh for it, fight Drippe for it, push him out of the way. And now LeDuc has it. LeDuc, if he can get it centered, could set it up for his team, but now Walcott has to rush back, grab it out of the Cringe Society hands. And for now, another shot's taken. Walcott keeps it out again, showing off the savior of the season skills. We're back up to Cringe Society's half. This is the real test for Canberra Havoc. Can they secure a goal? Can they convert one of these shots onto that board? It looks like not for now, as Drippe solo keeps it out.
And LeDuc will collect this, tries to find his teammate Tango, who ends up finding his other teammate, ex-teammate, sorry, in Spidosh. LeDuc puts us to the corner, but Drippe first to it. Tango now has the clearance, but puts it right in the middle, but Walcott's the first to it. Thought Cringe Society should have pounced on that. Instead, they went back for boost. Now it's gone the other way. LeDuc will keep this one up. The shot came in from Drippe, the pass down to Torsos, who misses it again. Should have definitely put that shot on, possibly put his team in the lead, but instead we're in the corner with Drippe.
Yeah, and just now the defenders have had time to get their boost and get their position and now keep the ball out. And with that, Cringe Society, they might be able to start another attack here, but they've got 1 minute to get it in. And with that, I think Canberra Havoc have shut it down, especially as LeDuc steals it away. Drippe will be there in time to defend it, but everyone else from Canberra Havoc have come up now to try and convert this one in, and Walcott steals it away with a great 50-50. Who's in here? It's Walcott again. He bumps it a little bit, but all 3 members of Cringe Society are here to keep this one out. They can't afford to let this one drop because it could be the last goal of the game.
Yeah, just not enough to force that one in, but Drippe, 30 seconds left on the clock, tries to take this, but instead Walcott clears it, LeDuc keeps it away. And the shots just keep mounting for Cringe Society. Just one mistake from Canberra Havoc could cost them the series, cost them the game. As this shot comes on, Tango whiffs it, but the save does come through. The shot again, LeDuc swipes across to keep it up. 10 seconds left on the clock. Could we see an upset before overtime? Or are we going to see either team take this one up?
Cringe Society seconds away from making it to the playoffs, but they're going to have to wait through overtime here, and Canberra Havoc are going to stop them at every chance they can get going for the kickoff. Kickoffs have been fantastic for Cringe Society in the past, but it looks like this one won't do the trick just as easily as they have before. And now Havoc up against the Cringe Society in net, getting it by the halfway mark and keeping control. Walcott taking a shot. The Spidosh floats through the air and keeps the ball out for now. Now it's Havoc's turn to defend.
Yeah, but a nice little win there from Torsos. Couldn't quite find the pass in. Tries it again, knocks it down, but Tango will clean this up as Drippe decides to defend instead of attack, playing it safe in overtime. Now goes by himself. Teammates to back him up. Torsos' shot is good, and Cringe Society take it in game number 4 in overtime, same as game number 1. Cringe Society are going to playoffs.
Cringe Society in overtime in a series closer than many would call it. They still managed to get it done. They get it done 3-0, secure this spot. They're in the playoffs, making Renegades a little bit sad though, because now they have to rely on our last match of the day. But let's wrap things up here between Cringe Society and Canberra Havoc, who I've got to say stepped up a lot in their final match of the series. They didn't get it done in the end, but they took a game off Cringe Society. They made the other games look very competitive, and I'm excited to see them next season.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they stay together for next season, because I think with the way they were going near the end of the season, I think they're a real contender. I mean, if they take Cringe Society to game number 4 and close in every single match, overtime in 2 of them, and even taking one out themselves, I think just a little more practice for this team, and we could see them make playoffs next season and maybe even get another second and go to Worlds.
All right, well, Cringe Society, they did tighten things up in the end, and they did edge out the win here. So we've got to start talking about MVP. Who stands out to you? Because a few players did stand up today for Cringe Society. Was it enough to know? But who was the most valuable player today?
For me, it's got to be Spidosh. I mean, we pointed him out. It's against his old team, and I think he really stepped up. Torsos could have got it, but missed a lot of shots that he probably should have put on target. So Spidosh clinches it for me.
Okay, and there we have it, our second last MVP of an individual match here throughout the league play. And with that, we only have one more match to go. And it's fitting that it is going to decide a lot about the playoffs, whether Renegades are going to make it back in, whether either of the teams playing are going to make it into the last spot of playoffs. We won't know until the match starts and until the match finishes, actually. So after the break, we'll come up with Fury versus Esper. And we return because we've got one more very, very important game to go here. It's the final game of league play in the LPL Pro Rocket League Oceanic Championship. And well, it decides a lot. So, Watson, let's talk about what this match means. It's Esper versus Fury. And it decides whether either of these teams makes it into the last spot for playoffs and if Renegades will make it. So, let's talk about what the scenarios are, right? So let's talk about Renegades first. For Renegades to get in, Esper has to beat Fury 3-2 exactly, and no other scenario will let Renegades in. Other than that, if Esper wins the series, if they win it 3-1 or 3-0, they make it through. If Fury wins, then they make it through, no matter the scoreline, I believe. If I bring it up, yeah, so if Fury win, they're guaranteed not just top 4, but top 3, actually. So they may actually overtake Cringe Society. But we'll get onto that because it's not really going to affect too much. That's the important stuff to know. Let's talk a little about the lineups here in this match. It's Delusion, Frenzy, Steve playing here for Team Esper in possibly one of the most important matches of their lives.
Yeah, definitely, and for probably the most important match for Renegades lives as well, at least this season. But talking to these players, I think Delusion stepped up a lot last week. Frenzy and Steve have been playing really well this whole season. I think Steve has been a real standout player for this team, has put them on his back a lot more weeks often than not. So if they want to make playoffs, I think they've got to count on that man stepping up.
And their opponents, the Dark Horses, the underdogs themselves, it's Team Fury. These guys, I put a lot of expectations on them, and mostly thanks to Amphis, who I've seen play before the season, the 16-year-old wonder player, along with his teammates Kenny Salmon and Scarth as well, who have also been stepping up and really rounding out this roster to make them a real powerhouse.
Yeah, Amphis, one of those MVP contenders, and then Kenny and Scarth, it's really on their backs. Whether they show up or not depends on how the team plays, because if they're playing well, they're solid, they're not making mistakes, Amphis pops off, and that's why they're fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, that's it. That's how this team works, and if we see Amphis get going in this match, then Fury can easily take this.
So let's take a look at the feature player matchup. It is two players that you just mentioned, Steve and Amphis, and these guys are perhaps the stars of their teams throughout the season. And taking a look at the numbers, you can certainly see why.
Yeah, almost identical stats. Maybe Amphis edging ahead a little bit as for Team Esper. Some of the other players have also stepped up, whereas I feel like with Fury, Amphis is the key man for them. But yeah, I said Amphis is one of these MVP contenders. Maybe his stats aren't best, but the fact that he showed up week in, week out to put this team where it is, where a lot of people would have put them bottom 4, and now they're fighting for a playoff spot with good chances to do so. Yeah, it just kind of speaks wonders to how well this kid's been playing.
Yeah, and so excited to see him here in a very important match here. I mean, you talk about the stats maybe even not looking that impressive for Amphis, but I mean, they're still pretty significantly higher than Steve's in almost every category. So now the question is, are we now relying on the other two members from both sides to kind of step up and round out their team to take the win here? Or is it just going to be on those star players?
Yeah, I think the star players are the ones to kind of look out for to make the plays, but it does come down to those other players and how well they're playing. If they're making mistakes individually themselves, then it's really going to cost the whole team, not just that player in themselves. I just want to point out that Amphis is 3rd in Golden Striker, just below Deca and Jules, and Kenny Salmon is just below Tango for that Savior of the season as well. So both of these players may be playing for those solo accolades as well.
I mean, did you see the last game? I'm not sure if he's going to be able to beat Tango in the Savior of the season after that, but I mean, I think Tango got quite a lot of the saves. Leduc was getting most of them, but Tango would have got enough to keep his numbers high. But yeah, Kenny Salmon, the main point here is The dude's good at keeping the balls out of the net. He's very good saves. His team has been on the back end sometimes, but not as often as a team like Canberra Havoc, who I'd say that puts them mostly in the favor for the saver of the season. So Kenny Salmon getting saves, important saves.
It was Scott's teammate in Daisu last season that just beat out Canberra Havoc, so we could see it again. Scott's teammate and Kenny Salmon keeping Tango from getting that player accolade, but we'll have to see whether or not they're on the back foot enough to get those savior stats. But we're already into the game. Not the same situation with Cringe Society where we see early goals, and thankfully for that, as we missed the first 5 seconds, but in front of Fury's net should be a clearance soon, and we can all breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, and Esper have pushed it forward really hard right now, but Fury are, like you said, they kept it out throughout the kickoff. Can I keep it out through here? And it looks like they can. Is that clear? Might have been awkward, but no one was in position to punish them for it, so they will stay alive for now. They'll keep out all of the goals for now.
Fury finally mounting their first proper attack, but immediately shut down by Steve and Team Esper. Steve now in the corner trying to win it back. Delusion fights for the other end. Frenzy cleans it up in the midfield and Scarth will clear.
So, a very slow game to kick things off with. And this is also going to be probably one of the tightest series of today, which is crazy when you consider, oh, that's a shot onto the net, but it's just a little too high as it gets bounced up a little bit. Scarth as well, similar problems. And so for that, it's shut down, and Team Esper keeping it out. Fury do not get that one in.
Yeah, I don't think Amphis was really expecting such a good pass. It was literally at his feet, and he wasn't really expecting to. He kind of just drove into it by accident, and that's why it chipped up instead of putting that on target. And Amphis now with the flip, I believe, gets it over Steve. Doesn't beat Frenzy in the corner though, but Steve can't clear it out, and Scarth will clean it up, and that's a 1-goal lead to Fury. But Amphis did all the work there.
This is why we talk about Amphis being so good. I mean, yes, Scarth comes in and cleans up the goal that wasn't in by Amphis, but he did 99% of the work there. I mean, and just the mechanical skill we saw in the replay. Amphis just does it all the time. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's done it since the get-go, and it's insane to see a rookie to just kind of have the confidence to just go for that. A lot of rookies will come in and they'll just try and play consistent, maybe pass it off to a more veteran player, but Amphis says, nah, I'm going to get this MVP. I'm going to put my team on my back time and time again. And those mechanics are insane.
And wow, still keeping it in here, but Fury 1 goal up and now, feeling a whole lot more comfortable with that one done and dusted. You can never let Amphis hang on to the ball either, but that's a shot from Scarth with a lot of power, but the defenders are there in time. Now Frenzy's going to do a similar thing, but actually just send it a little high and a little slow. So with that, his team manages to get there in time. Does Fury hang around in front of them? Yeah, it's Delusion now. Does he go for steal here? He doesn't manage to get it. So now back into his own corner. He's going to have to go back for defense.
Yeah, 2 in the corner here. Scarth and Kenny Salmon kind of fighting each other for possession there. Need to kind of clean that up. Can't see any mistakes come out from them, especially when they're already in the lead. They just need to hold on.
Yeah, so Fury looking strong, but now back onto the defense. They've looked great on defense throughout this game so far. It's been 3 whole minutes, and Team Esper still yet to find a really strong shot at the goal. And now we see Fury do this all the time. They get in front of the net. It's just so close. Someone get it away, or just shoot it in. But no, it does get escorted away by Steve slowly but surely. Now we're up to Fury's net. They're on the defense.
I'm really disappointed in the teammates there from Fury. Amphis did so much to just put that in front of the goal. It couldn't have been easier. Literally pushed 2 defenders out of the way and just put it on a plate, but no one backing him up, and it's so sad to see.
Yeah, well, with that, his team does still remain only 1 goal up. A little high for Frenzy, but it's still here. There's another shot taken. Steve doesn't get that one in either as Amphis keeps it out too. Now, with that, Fury should be able to get a really good clear here, but they don't win that 50-50, and now Delusion steals it away. Delusion redirects it, but a little much to the left. It means it doesn't go in. Now Fury, with only a minute to go, still hold their 1-goal lead.
Team Esper should have scored there. They've been handed this game thanks to... Oh my. Oh no, I can't believe that's got it. I thought Amphis had it.
Do you want to talk about handing games over?
Oh no, I was going to say that Amphis and Fury should have put that a chance in earlier and sealed this game, and instead Team Esper had the chance of them. They couldn't get it in, and then that goes in of all the shots. Oh, that's insane.
All the shots. Wow. Oh man, Amphis like could have sworn he was going to get there first. I don't know why, but that guy seems to surprise me in so many ways. But with only a minute to go and Fury dropping that one goal, that's going to feel terrible, especially if Esper can find one here in the final seconds. But it's going to be actually Esper on the defense here. Amphis off the crossbar, back into his team, but it's going to be Esper who catch it. 30 seconds to go. They certainly want to find a goal here and now. Might be their last chance before we go to overtime. But Fury, with them taking it away, they might not even get a chance at all. And so Fury might be the ones to get their last shot.
All three players of Fury pushing up here, though. Just one counterattack could cost them, but they carry it on, keeping the pressure on, and Scarf might have just won this game for Fury, keeping Renegades sweating. And
that's a game-changing goal right there. I mean, maybe we can see something come out of Esper where they get something crazy off the kickoff here, or maybe a 0-second goal to take us to overtime. But Fury, it's been a bit tight. They let one slip by, but if you forget about that goal, it was pretty commanding their lead throughout the game. But let's hold our breath as it goes in. Are you kidding me?
No words. Just no words. Amphis just couldn't clear it. Maybe didn't have enough in the tank, and then Steve's shot was kind of weak, but it was enough. The keeper just couldn't keep it up. Probably wasn't expecting it to be quite as slow, and knocks it against the post, puts it in his own net there. And can we see an even bigger upset? Kenny Salmon's in the air for this, keeps it live, but it will hit the ground in the corner, and we go to overtime in game number 1, Smite.
Oh man, are you kidding me? In the match that matters the most, we go to overtime between two teams that are possibly the closest in power ranks right now. Let's see what they can do. Fury have had a great run so far. Here in overtime, remember, they haven't let too many goals slip by. The ones that they have have mostly been mistakes, although this one could be dangerous. Steve gets to push it to the side just enough. But Fury have had some pretty spectacular goals throughout so far, although this one, no way! Oh boy, I got a little worried, but Delusion's faster than me.
And this is going back the other way. I just want to remind everyone that Team Esper need to win this 3-1 or 3-0. Can't let Fury get 2 wins or else they're out. But it does mean that would open the door up for Renegades to find a way into playoffs. Just bear that in mind as this match plays out.
Renegades are kind of hoping for a very specific scenario, so at the least they're hoping that Esper gets a few wins here and there. But we'll get to what they're thinking maybe a little later on in the series as we get closer to it, because this overtime is tight. Amphis being patient here, trying to freak out his opponents, but Steve now through the air, under Scarf, and it's Amphis through underneath. Delusion looking for the final touch, and maybe it's Steve that does it, and it is! To get it in overtime, Esper taking game 1 against Fury.
What a play! I'm sure Steve didn't mean to hit it there, but then just turns around and goes for that bump and then knocks it in himself. What a play from Esper, keeping their playoff hopes alive, and they got the celebration back. It's still here to stay. Man, what an overtime goal that was. That was insane.
Because, I mean, oh man, Esper, they just looked beautiful during that in the final moments, right? I mean, sure, some of the goals they got earlier on in the match were a little weird and maybe shouldn't have been let to just roll on in, but that last one was earned and made up for all those other ones, because that was great. A whole team heads up play, reactionary too. So it's not like it was all planned and practiced. It was just the ball's here, go and do what you can with it. And so, wow. I mean, great to see, but I want to see them do it more.
Yeah, there was a little bit of luck that came through at the end there, especially when Steve ran out of boost and it just kind of ended up in front of him and he knocked it against the post. But you take those, especially in an overtime, especially trying to keep your playoff hopes alive. You'll take anything you get. And I mean, we pointed out Steve to be that player to kind of put his team on his back. He had all 3 of his team's goals there, was head and shoulders above the rest in terms of score. So really putting this on himself to try and carry this team to playoffs.
Amphis is certainly trying to do the same thing for his team, though. So, I mean, Fury are definitely happy to have Amphis come in and show up, but we got to see his teammates start supporting him too. Kenny Salmon and Scarf, I mean, they've got some great stats under their belts. I mean, they've had some great games. I mean, Kenny Salmon, a great savior as well. And I've got to say, throughout that game, yeah, I mean, the saves were fantastic. Fury kept out a lot of goals, and so it was really just in that overtime where they slipped. But other than that, I feel like Esper, yeah, looking just ever so slightly stronger, but a good kickoff will give a strong start to Fury.
Yeah, and Scott's actually the one that scored all the goals for Fury, even with both of them being set up by his teammates, and sorry, all three, and that one being set up by Kenny there. Great kickoff from Fury, good pressure, only 5 seconds into this game, and they're fighting back after that overtime loss.
It's just such a pain in the side when you start off a game and you're already 1 goal down. That's basically what this is. And so now Esper got to wonder if they can bring it back, and I feel like with that second goal, that's not a kickoff goal, that's just Anthus being good.
Yeah, almost felt like Frenzy was the one that put that one in, but no, it was just Anthus getting there first above him, inches away from getting that saved. But that is a lead to Fury, almost identical to what we saw from Cringe Society, doing it in 15 seconds or roughly about that.
Yeah, very devastating lead right now if you're Team Esper. Oh, that would have been a good way to come back, but they keep it safe for now. Oh, almost crushing him against the wall there. Frenzy trying to commit murder, but it's still up here against the Fury net. They haven't got it in. Steve has to find it here, and he does.
Man, this angle too, only had one place he could put this in net to beat the keeper, and puts it there perfectly. Sets himself up and then just gets there ahead of Scar, puts Kenny Salmon on the back foot and finds his opportunity there and takes it. Not even a minute off the clock, and we've already got 3 goals on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and you'll take that if you're Esper, so it's a bit of a rough start for sure, but you can certainly come back into this one. So now with that, they've got to fight at halfway, fight in the air. Delusion, another good up-and-coming player for sure, as well. Another young player too, played in a lot of the high school leagues, so even with his last season of experience, he's been around. And now they're up against the Fury net. They're looking to find this one in. No real defenders here in complete position, but no bumps, no disruption at all. And with that, Fury have the freedom to keep this one out.
Another thing to know is Team Esper last season as the Rats were so close, as Frenzy scores that one to even it up, they were so close to a playoff spot, top 4 finish, but this season now it's all in their hands and they have the power to do it, and with that equalizer from Frenzy, they're looking to do so.
It was a beautiful little steal from Delusion as well, just rode it along the wall, just popped it in position like a rugby ball before you kick it over the goalposts, and so with that, they even it up, made it easy, and now making it easy as well. Kenny Salmon bounces it in front of the net, just off the corner though. Scarf doesn't find it in, and now we're still even. And it's not even halfway, it's not even close to halfway through the game.
I don't know who the keeper was for Team Esper, but has kept them in the game by blocking that shot from Scarf. Frenzy sends it the other way, no one challenges him in the corner, which is so strange. All 3 of them just kind of sitting in net and letting them have the space to do that. And Delusion dunks it in. 3-2 to Team Esper. They're looking to take a 2-game lead in the series.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Fury scored their first 2 goals in like 5 seconds, so they haven't scored for a while now. They might be looking to do it again as they're getting a good thing going, but Delusion's very quick to shut it down, very quick to go into the corner. He gets it by Steve though, so now Fury can start going on and start taking some shots, but Scott has to get it by Frenzy. He sort of does, but that's a pretty good clear. Caught by Steve, now Delusion's set up for it. A demo with a Scarf. Everything's going up for Esper except the ball in the net. They didn't manage to find it, and now their net's looking awfully open.
Woo! The counter-attack there from Scarf. He's taking over this game for Fury. Scoring so many of these goals and just manages to find the angle there up against the post. Those are not easy. A lot of the times you'll just whack it against the post and it'll fly back the other way, but controls himself enough to put that one in and equalize this game. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Not even halfway through this game. It's 3-all.
It feels like one of the longer games for sure. 3-all. That's a lot of goals. And now Amber's getting a big fatty clear over to the other side. A lot of breathing room now for his team. They want to steal it away in the corner here, fight for it. Amphis does fight for it, but Frenzy looks like he's going to win out in the end as Delusion catches it. Steve set up for him for the double touch, and it's fine.
Steve, you dirty man. This is such a good shot here. Just knocks it into that waterfall, knows exactly where it's going to be, and just puts himself in a place to slot that in under the bar. What a goal from Steve.
And it's the goal that puts them into the lead. That's a great goal as well. It feels amazing. Esper are now on fire. 4 goals now up against Fury. They've only scored 1 throughout most of the game here. Can Fury do it again? They have to start finding these goals. It's only 1 goal apart. We're still 2 minutes, so both teams certainly still in this one for now. Fury, this should be the shot here as Kenny Salmon off the top. Where's the teammate? It's Ampus to bump it in.
I was at 4-all with 2 minutes left on the clock. Steve goes and scores one of the best goals of the season, and an Ampus just finds it in the corner here to even it up again. Back and forth goals for each team. We could see an overtime here. That's looking likely.
Oh man, I don't want to think about how quick overtime is going to be if the goals are coming out this fast throughout the game. But we may still get there because the teams have kept it even. They've very much made this game a viewer's pleasure. But right now, Esper right in front of the net. You've got to imagine this one's going to roll in and Frenzy bumps it in.
Oh, and how long will Fury's equalizer take now? I mean, they've equalized every time Esper's gone ahead, and Frenzy just places that well, and not a lot of power, only 30 Ks on that shot, so very slow, but puts it in a position where no one from Fury can get to it, and gives his team the lead once again. I would just like to see them hold on to it for once.
Yeah, and so if we go according to script, there should be Fury coming in and getting another goal, but Esper, if they can find one, here and now that could break the curse, essentially secure them the game. 1.5 minutes to go. That's a shot to the net. Fury get another goal.
Oh man, 10 goals this game, and it's still got 1 minute 30 left on the clock.
Of course, it's Scarf as well.
This is stupid. Oh, this is going to do wonders for their stats, though.
Man, I can't imagine the heart rate of the Renegades right now. Poor Renegades have to sit back and watch this absolute fiesta right now. It's just goals all across the side, and they want Esper to pick up a win here, but they also want Fury to pick up a win. So it's really hard for them to say. They just have to sit back and watch right now as it's all out of their control. And now 1 minute to go. 5-all, and Steve makes them look at 6-5.
Steve scores another beautiful goal here, just dribbles it on the wall here, takes it from Scott, he hands him the ball, takes it past him, and then kind of does the exact same thing as he did with the waterfall and just dunks it under the bar. Makes it 6-5. How long till Fury's equalizes? Smite, place your bets now.
All right, I'm giving it 10 seconds here. So at 53 seconds, they'll want the next goal, and it looks like they're getting close to it. Fury be up, nice and close. They've got 3 seconds to get this goal in to make me right. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, oh well. But for that said, it's still at the 50 seconds.
Somehow they've kept that out there. I think Smite's having a bit of trouble with his net here, so I'll take over. But Team Esper almost taking a 2-goal lead in front of net there, but Fury manages to keep it out on the line and send it back the other way. 30 seconds left in this fiesta. Frenzy doesn't get the shot off. The pass was good, just couldn't get there. Ampus tries to take it the other way as Illusion cleans it up in the midfield. Kenny Salmon's up for this though. We'll take this to the corner. It looks like Smite's back.
Yeah, don't worry, Watson. I wouldn't leave you all alone here, just for a few seconds. But that said, I lost the bet. Fury haven't scored even yet, and they've got 10 seconds to do it remaining. And now Esper are up against Fury's net, so this is the position they definitely want to be in here to take out game number 2. If they can get another goal in here, it'd be great. Feel amazing, man, but it's now all on Fury to keep that ball in the air, to find it in, to get that overtime. But one little bump from Steve says no.
Wow, and they kept the celebration going. Frenzy messed his up, but the other two kept it going. Look how many goals are in this game. Score's looking pretty even. We're going to game number 3 with Team Esper having a 2-game lead, and Renegades definitely sweating. Although, if Fury start to crawl it back, maybe take us to a game 5, it's working out in their favor.
Man, maybe Kenny Salmon will overtake first for Savior of the Season. Who knows? I mean, there's so many goals in that game, but it wasn't exactly like game 1 and 2. Game 1, where we didn't see as many goals. Still more than usual, but yeah, you're right. I mean, this is looking like a real series right now. I can't imagine what Renegades feel like sitting at home and watching this all play out in a series that absolutely can have any result. Right now, you've seen 2 games. You can look at the series and say this could be anything from, well, I mean, the results that are left, right? They need like a 3-1, a 3-2. It's getting closer to what Renegades want.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that Esper's kind of taken charge of here and taken the lead. Obviously, they've got the two games, but they're trying to take control of their own destiny and make it into playoffs. Obviously, just missing out last season is possibly fueling them here to kind of clinch that final spot. And I mean, one game away from doing it. If Fury take this game, I think it's really going to affect Esper's heads, and we could see a Game 5 for sure. So I think this is the most important match in the series.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to keep their heads screwed on. And again, like, not let the kickoff go a little too wild. Make sure Fury don't get anything crazy within the first 10 seconds again. You're on match point. Take it easy. Don't do anything too crazy. Just keep it out of the net. Esper has been great at finding the goals, so like expect to find them at some point. Just keep Fury away from your net.
Yeah, I think both teams need to kind of follow suit on that advice. It's just kind of keep a clean sheet, keep it neat and tidy at the back. Don't make too many mistakes, and then hopefully we won't see as many goals. And who knows, it might be a repeat of game number 1.
Yeah, I want to repeat a game number 2. I want like 11 goals again. That was nuts. Now we might get the first one of those. Scarf squeezes it into the net.
Yeah, Scarf getting goal after goal here. He's kind of putting his team on his back. We pointed out Amphis being the possible carry, but Scarf's really stepped up this week.
Oh, Scarf, absolutely. I mean, he had twice the score of anyone else in game number 2 or something like that. It was close. I think someone was 300 points behind him. But there we go. I mean, of course, he's the one to pick up that first goal of the game. And so, can he find a second one here as he's fighting for it? But Esper, I mean, they've let one go by, and they're going to let another one as it slips towards Fury's net. Delusion waiting, everyone waiting for Team Esper to be the one to send it in.
Yeah, Amphis now trying to take control of his own destiny here in the corner. Tries to pass it down to his teammate, doesn't find it. Can Scarf win this though? Frenzy kind of misses his clearance. Instead trying to dribble it out, and it leaves the door open for Amphis, who gets the shot saved by Steve. The kind of MVP players from these teams battling each other in front of the Esper goal.
Oh, Delusion almost at the solo play, but now we're back to the corner here. Steve fighting for it, but will get taken away from him, and now he has to go back to defend. Frenzy also fighting. Now the corner game comes back in again. Steve gets it, holds it through the air. Can he get by any defenders? Actually pushes them away too, but it goes back towards the Esper net. Delusion's in place, but he needs his team, and here they are. They're all here to defend. Fury pushing up aggressively.
Yeah, Steve's got this though. Bit of dribble, gets completely taken out of the game by Amphis. Definitely the right decision, as that man is dangerous with the ball in his head.
Yeah, best to just make him go boom, take him off the field, make sure you don't have to deal with it. Yeah. And now back to the corner again. Means that Esper are going to have to fight for it, try and steal it away, but Scarf and the rest of Fury are just keeping it by this halfway mark. Finally, we see one go by Esper. It's stolen out of the air, but it looks like everyone from Fury is starting to run out of juice. So using a lot of boost to fight for these balls. But Kenny Salmon still had some left, and he sends it towards the net, and it's a redirect off his teammate in midair. And they send it in.
What a turn of events that was. You saw Scarf get a fantastic save in front of his net, flying backwards. Could have easily put it in, and then Kenny Salmon dribbles it up, passes to Amphis, who immediately taps it back to him, and they take a 2-goal lead with half the game to go. Game number 3, trying to get this reverse sweep going.
Yeah, this is a lot of goals here. A big lead now for Fury. Going to be very hard for Esper to catch up, because this is not looking like game 2, where teams are scoring goals every 30 seconds. Slow, at least for Esper right now. They're struggling to get it up and get it by Fury. They might have an opportunity, but Amphis has been so good at these contests, winning so many 50-50s. Delusion catching it on his head. That might be enough. Sets it up, but it goes too high. Thanks to Fury, who keep it out, keep it alive. Now it's going towards the net. They're going to fight, and Scarf has to just drive by. Doesn't get it in. Now in front of the Fury net. Anyone from Esper going to send it in? No, not just yet, as it goes to the corner and keep it out, but they're still not finished. Still trying to send it in. One more shot from Steve is likely to come out, but no, they don't even find that.
Yeah, Fury looking a lot cleaner at the back, and it's showing obviously in the scoreline, but just getting these clearances when they need to and not putting it straight in front of a Team Esper player who's following up on the attack, and instead they're just buying a lot of time. I mean, that's all they really need to do with a 2-goal lead.
Some of these clears are starting to go to the Esper members halfway though, and Fury is starting to get a little on the ropes here. We've been here for a while. That could be the clear they were looking for. So it goes back over. Esper might clear it back, although Amphis here fighting for it. Maybe they'll have to defend a little while, but that demo might have been all the defense they need.
A minute left and 2 goals needed. I mean, we know it's in their wheelhouses. They did it last game time and time again, but now the pressure's really on and could see themselves slipping. I mean, if they lose this one, then they only have 1 game chance of actually making playoffs, because if this goes to game 5, then Esper can't make it.
Yeah, and that would actually be Renegades still in the spot at that point, but they've got 30 seconds to get 2 more goals. It looks like Fury should be cleaning this one up. We'll give it the last few seconds though. As we're close to the net, it gets shot, it's a little wide, stays out, and Fury push it down the field, push it down towards the net, make a 3rd goal, and make victory in game 3 impossible for Team Esper.
Yeah, we're definitely going to game number 4 after that. That is more than insurance. That is the nail in the coffin for this match. Going to game 4, Esper's last chance to make it into playoffs.
This is also Renegades' last chance. They need Fury to win here, and it looks like they're going to get that, and then they're going to need Fury to win another one. So much is going to ride here on game number 4. The final 10 seconds will come out. Team Esper would love to find a goal here just to feel a little bit good. But otherwise, that's the whole game without any goals. That's got to feel kind of bad, even if you are a match point.
Yeah, and even the 0-second goal coming through from there from Scott, who's kind of taking a reward for how well he's been playing in the series. Just knocks over Frenzy there and cleans this game up. Good amount of momentum for Fury now. Going into game number 4 is a 4-0 is a strong message to send.
Man, look at the difference in their victory screens as well. Esper's jumping all over the place. Fury, dead still, dead silent. But you're right, Scarf, absolutely tearing up this game, going in and getting all the results he needs to, showing off with a 0-second goal at the end. So now we're in the position. It's game 4. But it may as well feel like game 5, because right now, we were just saying it, right? Fury have got to win this game to stay alive, keep the hopes for playoffs alive. But Renegades need them to win this game to stay alive, to get the playoffs. It's just
and
crazy,
Esper
right?
also need to win this game to keep their playoff hopes alive. So a lot rides on just game number 4, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, and I'm super keen to see this one come out. Of course, it's super close right now, and Esper as well. You got to feel for them right now because they're in a pretty crazy position. Like you said, they just barely missed out on playoffs last year. They'd be stoked to get it this year over the Renegades nonetheless as well. All they've got to do is clean up one more game against a team that we've been calling kind of evenly matched. Maybe Fury was a little bit more the favorite going just off the record, but Esper looking like a stronger team at the moment. Game 3 was a little rough for them for sure. The main thing I see for them right now is they haven't scored a goal in a while.
Yeah, I think they are an even match team. I mean, the first 2 games, there was only 1 goal in it. Even in that Fiesta, the 6-5, there was only 1 goal in it. The first one went to overtime. I mean, with Fury winning that game number 3 really sends a message of we can win convincingly. What can you guys do? Scrap out a 1-goal win. And the fact that Esper's hopes lies in this game, and you just sent that 4-0 message to them, it's got to be mentally draining to go into this match number 4 knowing that you haven't scored in over 5 minutes.
Is it just me, or is there a lot more violence around the ball at the moment? Teams are just constantly fighting for this one and just constantly pushing it around the ground as well in front of these nets. And so now that might be the first real shot, and it's no one else but Amphis to score the first one here.
Yeah, nice car control here. Just gets under it, puts it over Frenzy. Almost not enough to put that in, but Frenzy commits himself maybe a bit too early and instead puts it in his own net. And Fury take the early lead here in game number 4. Renegades are clapping.
Yeah, they should be, especially after that second goal goes in. This is something we've seen Fury do before, get 2 very early goals, so don't stop sweating yet, Renegades, but for now, I mean, you can still be pretty happy. You can still have a smile on your face.
Yeah, this is following the script. It would be quite a miracle if Renegades do make it to playoffs, but a lot of things need to happen from now until the end of Game 5. But Fury looking to keep their own destiny alive and make themselves get to this Game 5 at least to keep their playoff hopes alive and shut out Team Esper in one game.
Yeah, I mean, what better to win a series and shut out two teams? It would feel fantastic. And now, with that, Fury, I mean, they've had their 2 goals. They've managed to get them in, locked in, secured, get their lead, but can they hold out the defense for the remainder of time? Because remember, they didn't let a single goal go by in Game 3. So you've got to imagine their defense should be on point too, as a goal was attempted there by Steve, but is kept out.
Yeah, and still, it's over 7 minutes now, and Esper haven't scored if you keep that last game in mind. And Steve trying to keep it on his back here, puts it in the middle, but no one really following it up. Delusion on the other side, Frenzy in the middle, but neither committing themselves, and so it just gives all the possession back to Fury, who have nothing but time to play with here.
And wow, they're again in front of Esper's net. Steve is going to get a decent clear. He has to get it by Scarf now as well. He does. Now it's in front of the net, but Anthus will be the one to catch. He has to get it by Delusion and does do just that, but maybe not well enough to keep it in his hands. But now as Frenzy keeps it up forward, but now both teams just going to clear it back and forth. Not really having any control here, but this has got to be Esper grabbing this one. That was close, too close to score. Oh no,
Steve
no.
puts his own net and it goes the other way. Frenzy puts it in. Are you kidding me? Keeping their playoff hopes alive. Oh, that should have been a Fury goal, but Steve, last minute save, keeps it in and somehow gets an amazing rebound to put it onto Frenzy's head, who scores that. And only 1 goal in this game, number 4 now.
Oh man, and you've just got to imagine that no one was just there in position, but Esper only 1 goal down now. You've got to imagine this is again very doable for them. They've faced these kind of odds before, even a 2-goal lead at the very start of the game, and so they can certainly do it. It's very close to the Fury net right now, looking for one more shot, and there it is. Delusion evens it up to all.
I think everyone's sweating now. It's even in game number 4. 2 minutes left. Fury had the early lead, but haven't managed to carry it on. Instead, are crumbling at the back as Team Esper even it up. Only 2 minutes left on the clock to see if Esper can make it to playoffs, shut out Fury, or if Fury can at least shut out Esper and keep their chances alive.
And keep Renegades' chances alive as well. But wow, Esper, I can't believe it, but I mean, they did even it up. They've done it with 2 minutes to go, so they've even got time to continue to press that lead and even skip overtime. That would be the main goal here, and so now with that, they are on the defense for now, and so Fury pushing them up, and Anthus is getting pushed around, so is everyone on Fury, to be honest, and so with that, their attack quickly shut down, and maybe even if Frenzy can grab this. No, alright, it's gonna stick here in Esper's half, but they did slow it down.
A nice little pinch there, get it out of their own half, and sends it to Steve, puts it in the opposite corner, buys a lot of time. So now Fury have to use everything to get this back into Esper's half, and kind of leaves him with nothing on the attack, but a pitch from Scarf and Anthus there. I believe it was a pinch anyway, it was a powerful shot nonetheless, and they take the lead again. Maybe it wasn't a pinch ahead off an Esper player.
Yeah, he just sends it in with a lot of power from the roof. I don't think anyone on Esper expecting it now a minute ago. This is why they bought that 2 minutes breathing room, because now they still have a bit of time to catch up in overtime. They can't afford to let another one go by. But Frenzy, oh, he can't get it by all 3 defenders. But that is putting Fury on the ropes right now. Delusion setting it up, but Scarf fighting for that one. Steve bounces it off the corner, and it's got to go over to Delusion here, but just corner to corner for now. And now with Fury just constantly taking it out of their hands, in fact winning that 50-50, and now sending it towards the net. Delusion's still there to keep his team in it. They don't want another one to go, and that would be the end of the game, the end of the series. But off the corner, they have to find one more, and Esper just can't find it. Fury keeps them out.
Man, 30 seconds left on the clock. Frenzy, sorry, misses his redirect there, and Instead, it keeps in there. Happens. Anthus gets the double touch, and that might be it. We might be going to Game 5, and Esper could be out of a chance of playoff hopes after going 2-0 in the series.
Oh man, and that last goal by Anthus, the double touch, or double touch off himself, kind of passed back to him by a defender. I think our camera moved at the last second, so you didn't even see it. But well, 2 goals in 15 seconds. I'm not sure it can happen. Fury, like you said, taking us to Game 5. Fury alive, Renegades alive, and Esper alive. We're still where we were before the match even started, as a 5th goal is now scored by Kenny Salmon here. This is exactly where we were before the match. 3 teams, 1 spot, and it comes down to 1 game.
Yeah, Team Esper now out of a playoff chance. Losing this one and going to Game 5. I'm sure this is going to end with Fury winning this one. So we're going to go to the Game 5, and it ends up being the story of whether Renegades get in if Esper wins this final match, or whether Fury locks it in themselves by getting the reverse sweep against Esper in their final match of the season. It all comes down to the final game of league play. Oh, are you kidding me? You couldn't write the script better, Smite.
Yeah, exactly. And now, I mean, the only thing we have left to do now is go to overtime in game number 5. But of course, now there are questions. It's how hard is Esper going to fight now that they're out? I mean, of course, they want to move up in the positions a little bit, fight for a little bit more cash, of course. But the drive to go to the playoffs, it's not really there anymore. So the question is, can they fight hard enough to still take the win here?
Yeah, you kind of doubt them, because this last game must have been crushing, just knowing that was it. Your playoff chances are gone, and you still have to play 1 more game. And now you're only really playing for Renegades to get a chance in, and you're just playing upset. Maybe they want the revenge to keep Fury out, and it'll also put Fury below them, so they'll get a bit more cash. But is that enough to kind of fuel them to this final game?
Honestly, I think it's, you've still got a lot of other incentives, right? You can be the team that gets the Renegades back into the playoffs. They keep them alive. And so with that, Team Esper coming in here for the last game of the regular season here before we head to playoffs. The game is ready. Let's get into it, Watson. I mean, we've had some great Rocket League today, and with a Game 5 where so much is on the line, you could not ask for anything more.
Yeah, final game. Here's the kickoff. Only 5 minutes decided to Lucian. The kickoff, and it might be that Team Esper just don't want Renegades in playoff, or he just mishit his flip, but it's looking like they're giving the win to Fury. I'm not sure if this is allowed. I think someone's going to have words with them if that's the case, but they give a 2-second goal over to Fury. Yeah, it's looking like that's the case, which is so sad to see.
But yeah, I was wondering if how hard they're going to fight for it. Let's give it a bit of time, see if they continue out. It looks like they are, as Delusion grabs onto the ball, runs along with it, runs along with the Renegades' hopes as well. Now we're back over to Fury's net. Esper going to try and send this one in. Frenzy's looking for his shot, but it's actually coming all the way back. He's looking for a long shot here, but over to the hands of Fury again. They've caught onto it, and Esper going to have to fight for it back.
Yeah, I'm still not sure what's happening. It kind of feels like they are, which is so sad to see. I mean, they're all good players in their own right, and they could have fought to keep Fury out of the playoffs, but yeah, it's looking like Renegades are gonna be out if it carries on like this. We're gonna have to get confirmation if this is allowed or if this is against the rules.
Well, let's go along with the assumption that Esper is playing the best they can here as we continue the series. Fury,
it's a little harsh.
We're gonna have to. And so, as you can see, they're passing it back. I mean, okay. All right, I don't think we can assume anymore. That's the 3rd goal there for Fury. Fury looking very strong to take a game number 5 here with a 3-goal lead.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about this fight. It's just disappointing for Esper. I've hyped them up the whole season. I thought they were going to make it. Steve's played out of his mind and maybe even a contender for MVP, but then to come into the final game and have your chance to kind of shut out a team and keep a pretty awesome storyline going, and to just kind of almost give up. It's just sad.
Yeah, well, with that though, I mean, Fury still looking strong. I mean, 4-goal lead. Even if Esper were to turn the switch back on and play like they have been in the last 4 games, then maybe we could see a comeback here. I mean, it's not impossible. We've seen them come back from pretty rough terms before. The question is the switch going to turn back on? Are we going to see Esper come back in? They're saving goals here. They're still trying to keep things out.
Yeah, but they've let 4 in. It doesn't matter saving them now. You're already 4 goals down with 3:30 left on the clock. Maybe they're just trying to show that they're not kind of throw in the game and trying to not get in trouble here if it is against the rules or not.
Yeah, that's all right. We've got Athens on it. That's what they're there for. Now in front of the net again. Scarf wanted to drop it down once more, but it's kept out for now. 3 minutes to go. 4-goal lead. Fury impossibly strong right now. And I mean, we also got to mention that this is now crushing Renegades, right? The Renegades are going to be out because Fury are looking impossible to beat him.
Yeah, but it does mean that Fury are going to lock themselves a place in playoffs, and Amphis in his first split is going to almost carry his team to the final. I think Scott's played really well in this match, even up to this final game. But yeah, Amphis time and time again put his team on his back, and it was enough to kind of make them the playoffs.
Yeah, and now half the game has gone by, and there's another shot by Amphis. Steve, though, still with his head in the game, does keep this one out, and now with that, I mean, it's just such a strong lead. How do you come back from this one? I'm not even sure if it's possible. So Fury, we've been in this blue half for oh so long, for such a huge percentage of the game. I mean, there's a few reasons why, for sure, but now we might actually see Esper find the first goal of the game if they can hold onto the ball. But very quickly, as they entered the half, they're sent back out of it, and just as quickly, Scarf gets the 5th goal on the board.
And it looks like the party was destroyed because of a connection error. Not sure what that means. Maybe they just left the game.
Yeah, maybe the spectator gave up.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
At least we know that Fury's the one that's making it to playoffs. Renegades sadly not.
And that's going to be a real interesting world. I want to talk about the playoff implications probably after this game as we just clean it up here. Because Fury have had a fantastic run, not just through the series, not through today, but throughout the league. They've dropped a few series where you thought, okay, maybe they are a team that's a little lower down the table. But throughout the season, the last few weeks even, they've had some great upsets. Who did they beat? They beat Mindfreak, they beat Ground Zero, I think.
Fury lost to Ground Zero, but they did beat Mindfreak and Renegades to make it here, so...
Renegades, yeah,
that's a great game.
And so the results over the last few weeks...
sorry, they did lose both 3-0 to Cringe and Ground Zero, so both teams that are looking strong in playoffs only beat Mindfreak out of that. So it'll be interesting going into playoffs to see if they can kind of keep up this form.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they won't be getting 6-0s in playoffs, but right here, right now, with only a minute to go here in the final game of the entire season before we go to playoffs. I mean, Fury are doing it with a bang, they're doing it with style. I mean, if you're 6 goals up, come on guys, give me some good aerials. Show me some good little mechanics. I want to see something special.
Only 50 seconds left in this final disappointing game of the season, to be said. It looks like Team Esper
props to
finally
Fury,
to play, but it's already 6-0 down. Yeah, definitely props to Fury. I mean, even in Game 4, they kind of shut them up, destroyed them even. And in Game number 3, kind of just kept them shut up. It was a 4 or 5-0, so they played very well in the series. May not have started well. Esper gets one back. It's probably not going to be enough with 26 seconds left on the clock then.
Yeah, probably way too big a gap for them to close. And yeah, respect to Fury coming in here, putting the roll into the final game here. Even with such a massive lead where they basically secured the game, they're still putting the roll in. They're still going for these kickoffs very strong, but Delusion does it even stronger. Still don't think 4 goals are going to happen in 24 seconds, but I mean, maybe if this happened about 4 minutes ago, it could have been a completely different game.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Fury throws their chances, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to play serious for the last 20 seconds, and they've got a pretty big lead, so I would be something very strange if Team Esper claw this one back, but yeah, definitely not going to happen.
Yeah, and so with that 13 seconds remaining, Kenny Salmon, he may save it, he may get a good clear. I mean, Esper may even just get the goal here, and Steve is looking to do exactly that. However, regardless of what happens here, regardless of the circumstances, which involve Delusion getting the third goal here, they may have halved the score of their opponents, but 2 seconds to go. Fury, game number 5, the last game of league play. Fury are going to take it out very decisively.
Yeah, definitely. If you just go off the last 2 matches, match 3 and match 4, I mean, they dominated and they looked like the better team. They looked like the team that should make playoffs, and it's sad that it means that Renegades won't make playoffs either. So, I mean, another good team that could have made it, especially with the form that Renegades have been in the last couple of weeks. It would have been nice to see them compete in best of 7s, but instead, Fury, first season in league play, they're going to take it.
I feel like these guys are going to keep the ball up in the air for quite a while, so let's maybe put a maximum time on it, but no, there it goes. Fury let it drop to the ground. Fury get the reverse sweep, and Fury make the final spot in the playoffs with a very, very hard-earned victory here at the very end of league play, but they get it done in the end. Watson, I mean, game 5, I mean, maybe let's put that in a box and just move it away for now. But the games that Fury didn't win, let's talk about it. Let's talk about, I mean, the fact that they really stepped up, and a big name that, I mean, I can already read it on your lips, Scarth, man. Scarth.
Yeah, he
had a great
100%.
series.
Yeah, fantastic series. Got most of the goals for the Fury in the first 3 matches, and then kind of Amphis took it over in game number 4, but Scarth was stepping up this week. I don't think we've really seen him play to that level the whole season, so it's good for him to kind of take out MVP in their final match going into playoffs.
Yeah, Scarth. I think he was that color as well. But there he is, Scarth, your MVP for Fury. The last MVP of the matches throughout league play. We'll be awarding one more MVP of the week in just a few moments, though, guys. So stick with us through that. But first up, we probably want to recap the day, Stephen, because it's been a long one. We've had some pretty great matches. Every single match has meant something for the playoffs today. So let's rewind a little bit and take a look at the results. So we kicked things off with a first place match. Ground Zero taking that one out 3-1 against Mindfreak. Then we had Renegades in a must 3-0 series, not just must win, but must 3-0, and they did exactly that against Overt. And then Cringe Society needing to get the win to get themselves in the playoffs against Canberra Havoc. And then our last series of the day, Renegades riding on this match as well. It went just one result in the other way, though. Fury getting the 3-2, securing their own spot in the playoffs, and kicking Team Esper and the Renegades out entirely. And now we have our top 4 teams.
Yeah, pretty crazy that the top 3 teams all ended with the same score game scoreline, I guess, in 5-2. Ground Zero just taken out in goal difference there, so they're sitting in the first seat place going into playoffs. But I guess we have to talk about MVP of the week, and I just talked about Ground Zero, and I gotta say it's gotta go to Deca. I mean, they had the arguably the hardest matchup in that top of the table clash, and I think he came head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree as well, because they, coming into it, right, it may not be the match that decides if they're in playoffs or not, but it's the match that decides whether they're first seed or not, and that can be a very important thing going into playoffs next week. So for Deca to step up so much in a series that matters so much, in a hard match as well, I mean, it means everything to his team. So with that, MVP, agree with me for sure. And so, Stephen, with that, we now have no more league play. We just have to look at the leaderboard at the end of it all and see how we're going to be moving into playoffs next week. And so with that, we've got Mindfreak and Ground Zero and Fury all tied for that first place. And of course, that'll be tie-breaked by game differential, which we'll update you guys next week. Then, of course, Cringe Society nabbing that last spot in the playoffs with a 4-3 record. And then rounding things out down the bottom is Team Esper, just missing out with a 3-4. And somehow Renegades are actually below them as well. So I imagine they're actually in fifth place.
I think they're slightly above because of game difference, yeah.
Yeah, so interesting how that one turned out. But then, of course, Overt and Canberra Havoc down there at the bottom. Only one win apiece throughout the season. Close series, but unfortunately didn't pick out a win throughout the last 8 weeks. So with that said and done, Watson, we've got our top 4. And this is a top 4 that I don't think anyone could have picked in this order.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would have put Fury and Mindfreak that high up the table, let alone making playoffs. I thought Renegades were going to make it. I think everyone did. So it's such a surprising top 4 teams to go through, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and speaking of the next 2 weeks, guys, some information about the playoffs. Of course, we're kicking things off next week, so you'll be able to join our journey at the same time as this broadcast next week. And then, of course, another fun announcement. Thanks to the nature of remote broadcasts, it doesn't matter that people like Yummy Cheeseman are over in Australia. We're going to hook them up to the internet and bring them over to the semi-final, to the playoffs for the whole time as well as a guest, as well as Max Formal, who I've had the pleasure of casting with before as well, and is a great face for the Rocket League community. So there's going to be all 4 of us here in the next few weeks. So it's going to be packed here in Rocket League. It's going to be a party, and you're going to forget that we're on lockdown at all. But guys, playoffs coming out in the next week, and I can't wait to see you guys there. So make sure you're there for all of the Rocket League top action.